What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Aloha.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Was that for in honor of the new Pokemon?
That was in honor of the new Pokemon.
Nicely
Nice
done.
catch.
Nicely done.
It's because I just recently listened to the last episode.
That's what I was going to say. I knew that because of the moment with Mogan.
And I wasn't there for the moment of
now
Mogan.
you're-
So that was
That's
like
right,
me.
you weren't.
I wasn't. I left. And that
I
was
had
like
to yell
me.
at you about it.
I know. I was like listening to the moment of Mogan for the first time. And I was actually, this is news that I would like to
This
hear.
is, see?
It was actually
I try to keep you people informed.
I know.
Gosh,
I know.
I didn't know it took place
like
on
talking to a brick wall.
pseudo Hawaiian island or what
Yeah,
have
no,
you.
it's a real change of pace. It's going to be
I
nice.
dig it.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
the slower pace of island life. That's the kind of game I'm looking for.
Yep.
I'm actually, that's probably when I'll get a Nintendo
Do it.
3DS.
Because they got to release a special edition for it. Like with the new starters and whatnot, they have to. I hope they do.
You were giving a lot of crap to
Poplio,
the
the
seal.
ugly seal lion one.
What's the deal
Gross.
with that?
I
You
hate
don't
him.
think
I think
he's
he's dumb
attractive?
looking. No.
Really?
I choose my
gonna
Pokemon
evolve into
entirely
the-
based on aesthetic.
What?
So the
Yeah.
fact that he's ugly at starting point is like a deal breaker.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And the owl Pokemon is the only one that is now
Rowlet?
flight and grass, which
Yes.
has never happened
At
before.
this stage.
Right,
So
at the
usually
first
your
stage.
starters are never dual type when they're at their youngest evolution. But then later, I think Greninja, actually, one of my faves, does wind up being dual type. So did a lot of them.
Which was, from the drunk episode, true that Greninja was not in the last, or in the early
first,
installments
yeah,
of
the
Smash
early
Bros.
It's all right.
No.
Yeah, I want to say
listen
I want to say the only Pokemon that are in that one are Jigglypuff.
Please don't make Cody any more mad.
Okay,
He
fine.
already hates us.
No, Lucario's in there as well.
Yeah. Well, he's not from
Lucario.
Pokemon, so
Right? What is he?
no, he's from his own franchise, I think.
No, that's not true.
I'm just kidding.
Seems like
I was going to say,
don't
that's
know.
like a Mewtwo ripoff.
I mean, I knew Mewtwo was in it, right? Isn't he
No.
unlockable? In a later one, I think.
In the later ones, yes.
Yeah.
What, in Smash Bros?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
in
he
the
comes
most
in, like,
recent
Brawl.
Brawl,
maybe you're
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be Pikachu for a while.
Yeah, you could be Pikachu since N64.
Yeah,
Well.
he's a good character.
He is a great character.
It's a he,
So
right?
darn cute.
I think so.
Well, it depends on what type you catch.
Well, that's fun. But ladies and gentlemen, if you did not know, this is Team Chat Podcast, where we three sit around this table and we talk about video games and why we love them. We'll take questions, and you can do that by emailing us at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Twitter at Team Chat Podcast, sending us comments or questions there. You can like our Facebook page and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. But we will talk about games through top 3 lists, open discussion, recently debates.
Ah, yes.
We had a debate in our last
did.
episode, and sometimes just, just random crap.
The debate of all debates.
Yes. Which is better, Xbox
never-
One or PS4?
and
Check
we-
it out in our last episode if you haven't listened to us
Who
before.
won? And we never mentioned PC. Only.
Oh, it's not even like part of the debate. No.
I mean, because most of the games that we're
I don't
talking
play
about, you
PC.
can. I don't either. I mean, most of the games you can play on the console, you can play on the PC too. I know they're separate. I mean, I probably am the most that dabbles in computer-based gaming, but I play them on my Mac because I don't have a PC and Civilization and stuff like that. But whatever.
All I've got is a laptop that cannot handle it. Like any game that's more than casual gaming does not compute.
Yeah.
Can't
Kinda
do
like
it.
online chess, right? That's about it.
Solitaire.
Minesweeper?
That's casual gaming.
So before we get into it and everything, we did have one question. But before we get into that, I want to talk about something we were talking about before.
Inception.
A couple things before we move on to the thing. So before we started recording, we were watching all of because today it's out, Overwatch.
Oh, it comes out,
In
a week from now?
Yeah, we're recording this the Tuesday before. So when you're
Right.
listening to this, Overwatch is out.
Wow. I got to get it. What am I doing here?
You need,
I should be playing.
I should be playing right now.
And so we were watching before we started recording all the animated shorts that they were putting out. So far, they've released. There might be new ones by the time you listen to this, but so far
Probably
they had
so.
the Recall, Alive, and Dragons shorts and everything. And my God, they're excellent.
Really good.
Like
I'm
I want
blown
them to
away.
make a show.
we would watch a
Yeah.
whole show about it.
Like
I would.
that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it could be actually a successful show.
I watched it for the first time last night. It was on it was on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I'll see what this is, this little trailer, and I had no idea like what I was getting into. I think I watched Dragons first.
Nice.
And I was like, wow. I mean, just talking about when we were watching, I love how they're creating this story already. Like they're already building backstory for the different characters, and I'd like live for this. Like I don't want to like overhype it, but this game for me seems like it's gonna be right up my alley.
Yeah,
it seems kind of
It
perfect.
looks a lot of fun.
It does, and all those shorts are great. And yeah, we watched what was the other one? With the two women fighting, Tracer and the other girl,
Alive.
Widowmaker
and Tracer. Yeah,
yeah. So it looks like there's going to be
Widowmaker.
real story mode that happens
that one
as well.
That one was really good too, and I also like the one with Winston, the big gorilla.
Yes.
We didn't get to
Mogan
that
didn't
one.
see
I didn't see that one
no.
yet.
Hold on, I gotta let the dog out.
Ooh, let the dogs out, Jerrett.
Don't date yourself.
Yeah.
Now people will know how old you are.
I was like 4 when that came out.
Ooh, dated himself. Here they are. Thought we were old, ancient, aged scholars.
Although, if it makes you feel any better, I owned that CD.
I'm pretty sure I own that CD too.
It was bad.
A lot of people did.
So Overwatch.
It looks awesome.
Overwatch looks
Really
great.
good job.
I really want to play it too, and get on that. So because
I mean, the little I played of the beta, I liked a lot.
yeah,
I didn't get to play the beta. I'm behind.
Yeah.
I know. Terrible.
because you didn't have your brand new
I
spanking
didn't at the
console yet. So
time,
let's
but
talk
now
about
I
that.
do.
Yeah. How
Right
much
on.
of you is
you've
filled
had
with regret?
You've had a little while
None.
to play with your new shiny PS4.
My beautiful special white edition PS4.
I know. I was so surprised you were able to
I
get one of
ran
those.
all
Yeah, those
around
are cool
town
looking.
in flash flood weather, and I was like, I am going to get the one I want.
Yep.
If I'm getting a PlayStation 4, I'm going to at least get the one that I actually want.
Did you really have to go to multiple stores?
I did. I
How
went
far
to
did you have to
multiple
go?
stores. So I started at the
outside
one
Texas.
that's closest to you. Yeah, just Louisiana. Wasn't that far. Wasn't that
Just
far.
one state over.
Just one state over.
Quick jaunt in the car.
Not that bad.
just small road trip. No, I started
Pack some
here,
snacks.
and then I went way up north, and then I wound up back in the middle.
Oh god, that's
So,
So
I
where'd-
went to like 3.
Where'd you end up getting it from?
The GameStop that's like off of Ben
35?
White? No, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I passed
Oh,
that.
And
yeah.
I came in and I was like, please tell me you have a white PS4. And they were like, holy crap, we do.
Wow.
No one asks for it. And I was like, gimme.
Mine.
And they were like, finally,
Put your hands up. It's a robbery.
this is a robbery. I also got, so Jerrett was so kind enough to lend me some of his games, none of which I decided to play. I decided
All of which actually are not good.
I just discarded. I actually decided to get Dishonored because
Okay.
the more I see of Dishonored 2, the more I like the look of just the game itself. So I
Right.
was like, I better play the beginning one before Dishonored 2 comes out later this year. I've actually got some stuff on my list for the moment with Mogan
Oh,
later about
exciting,
that.
exciting.
But that's not until later. And so I love it, Dishonored, but I'm bad at it. I'm really terrible.
That's the one where you have like powers.
Yeah, you
Right.
have powers and you can play the
played
game. I
Dishonored.
like the free ranging ability of play the way you want to.
Yeah.
Like you can be very aggressive or you can be very like passive and stealthy. And I never managed to do either well. Like
I didn't either. I'm in the middle
Yeah.
when I played it. I need to go back and play it again.
Yeah, because like
And get back
after you
into it,
finish
but-
each mission, it gives you like a breakdown of how you did. And if you like go on a rampage, like I guess that's fine. Or
That
if you
hurts
don't
the
kill,
end game.
Yeah, it hurts the end game. It makes the ending more dark. Which I guess if you're trying to like be
cool.
the bad guy, that's fine. I'm not. I think we all know that's not
Yeah.
my goal. So I'm like, oh,
Is it
if
hard
I
to
could,
be the good guy?
It is actually because a lot of the times, like if enemies notice you, you either have to run away, or if you can't run away, you have to fight them. Like
Yeah.
there's no
And
way
they
that
all
you
just
can
swarm
really,
you.
yeah, and they'll just swarm you. So like the best thing is to just never be detected and like choke people out from behind or shoot them with sleep darts, like to make sure that they just don't
I
see
didn't realize
you.
stealth was that important in the
It's
game.
Yeah.
it's you could
It's
play the
big.
whole game.
Every time I see like clips, it's always like big
No.
powers happening.
My goal
Well,
is
because
to not
people have figured out
decapitate
how to like combine the powers in like really ridiculous ways. Like I saw a video one time because you can get like these like mines, trip mine kind of things, and the player slowed time. What
so you can do that,
You can
which
he
that's-
slowed
Yeah,
time,
your
I love
power-ups.
that.
placed one of the trip mines on a rat that was moving by.
Oh my god.
and the rat like moved and went off and wound up like killing 3 dudes all at one time.
Ooh, I like stuff like that.
It was
Sounds
awesome, but I was like, how? I would never think.
Wait,
of
was
doing
that a spring razor? The one that
Yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I actually haven't used spring razors yet.
Yeah.
Since I'm trying to not kill people, I'm like, a thing that explodes and kills everything within its radius.
Seems like a bad
probably isn't
idea.
what I should be
You
doing.
shouldn't be close to that.
And so I've had to I'm trying really hard to like play the game on like passive mode.
Yeah.
So I keep restarting the same missions to be like, okay, this time I'm not going to kill anybody.
Oh, I just keep going.
And it's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm to that point now. So like the first mission, I was like, well, I managed to not kill 6 people. That's good enough.
That's better than most.
We're moving on. So now I'm on like really just mission 2.
So you've only been playing Dishonored, really?
Yeah, I've only been playing Dishonored just this weekend, and I like it a whole lot.
Let me back up. Is the white PS4, how rare is that? Like a rare thing?
It was a
I thought it was
special
only a
edition,
special
right?
edition, like you could only get at launch, but apparently I was wrong.
Because you sent us a
still
picture
ones-
via
there's
text.
still
Yeah,
ones
it's
around.
Like,
beautiful.
ooh, that thing
It's
is
pretty.
good
I'll
looking.
post
It is
some to the
pretty.
Facebook page.
Yeah,
It's
you
so
totally should.
gorgeous.
It's pretty.
It looks really nice because like none of my other gaming consoles are white, so it's like
White's
this is awesome.
That's nice. Nice little
White is
standout.
nice.
Yeah, my entertainment center is black too, so it really pops.
Oh,
Nice.
very
Yeah,
cool.
it's nice.
Draws the eye.
Books next to it, maybe.
I don't
you
have
know?
the stand yet, though. They were like, "Oh,
She doesn't
stand
read.
sold
I
out."
know
That's right.
I don't read.
This is my
Books are
bookshelf.
for
Reading's for chumps.
Books are for chumps. A
So-
classic
Wait,
Mogan
isn't that
quote.
my catchphrase?
Yeah.
Last
is it
time we were
reading is
saying
for chumps or books are for chumps?
books are for chumps.
Books are for jumps.
Books
No,
are for
you know what
chumps.
reading is for chumps.
Okay,
A book
she
is an
changed it.
object.
Okay.
Reading is a thing that you do.
Reading
Reading
is
is
for
for
chumps.
chumps.
Okay.
Ironically, one of the things I love most about Dishonored is reading all the books in the game.
Are there a bunch of books
You
in there?
can
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
I
to
dig
read.
that.
And
dig
I will
that.
take my time and be like, "There's a book.
Ah,
There's a book.
just take an hour.
There's a book."
Read the story.
Pull up a cozy chair.
And
sit
sometimes
down.
I come across
That's
a
like
book I've
Elder
read
Scrolls.
before, and I'm like, "This game, look at them cutting corners."
Yeah, jeez.
Got to
Really
make a new
skimping.
book for every room.
That's funny.
Anyway, so it's going good.
Nice. Glad you're enjoying it.
The next one I want to get is Until Dawn.
Oh yeah, I heard that was
Ooh,
good.
that's
Yeah,
good.
I have heard.
That
I
was
almost
good.
did, but that was at a different store, and I was like, no, I want to make just one big purchase at one store. So
Yeah, it's a good way to go about it.
had to use my real adult credit card.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was scary.
That is terrifying.
Now I owe. I'm in
buyer's
debt.
you didn't have buyer's remorse when you left.
I mean, a little bit.
But then you
feels
opened
wrong.
it and we're like,
Just a
oh,
little.
that looks
And then I got
pretty.
it home and I set it up, and I was like, yes,
Totally worth it.
totally worth it.
Well, you guys have fun.
We will.
Oh,
we
just
will.
wait. Cross-platform will be here before you know
True.
it. Okay, so before we get into the topic of the show, we did have one question from our good friend Brandon. And he asked what was, we'll just do one and we'll do this really quick.
Okay.
So we can jump, because I have a feeling this topic might be a little long today.
Yeah,
We'll try to keep it
I'm
tight.
worried. I'm worried.
We'll try to keep it
We're already-
tight on the
we're
time.
already
I know, we've
behind
already been like blabbering
I
on.
know. We're already an hour behind.
But Brandon asks us, what is a most disappointing game?
Uncharted, the first one.
Brief synopsis as to why.
It was lame.
I find that hard to believe, but like,
No, like I didn't. So it was billed to me as being this game that was high on exploration, really similar to Tomb Raider, would have a lot of like explorer's value. And even though there is technically an explorer mode, if you play the game on regular mode, it's just so repetitive. It's, go here, kill a bunch of guys. Oh, then there's more guys. Kill them too. Oh, then there's more guys. You got to kill them. Oh, then you're in a Jeep. Then you kill more guys. Oh, and guess what you get to do here? You kill more guys. And it was the same. I didn't feel that any of the levels stood out. I was so underwhelmed. Really, the only thing that was interesting about it was when you finally get to like the subterranean part where the mutant cursed people are or whatever, and I was like, oh, it's finally at least a little bit scary. But even then it was just waves and waves and waves and waves. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's the same thing. Just it looks different. So I was totally underwhelmed.
well,
Puzzles were
now that you have the
absolutely-
PS4 and you can get the Nathan Drake
I
collection and you
can.
can play the further ones, I'll be interested to see how you feel.
Because they're on
those-
4 right now, right? The
Yeah.
fourth just
Fourth
came out,
one, and it's the
it
last
gets
one.
great reviews.
Oh, it got
it's supposed to be
excellent.
amazing.
I just think that people are wrong all the
Yeah,
time.
It's
Yeah.
possible.
Well, you'll
It's
have to
very
play it and
possible.
find out.
Yeah. I do already have the second one. So
Oh, nice. Cool.
Presumably I can work my way up, but God, why would I want to sink more time into that?
Yeah, Mogan
Based
said
on
she
the
wished
first
she could.
one.
She told
Yeah,
me before
I
the
want
podcast.
those hours back.
She wants those
this
hours
is a
back.
game that I actually finished. I finished this one, and I
Ripped
finished
off.
the
You got
game, and I
ripped
had
off.
this feeling of, I wish I hadn't.
Now, is the first Uncharted famous for not being up to par with
I think
the
I've
other
heard
ones?
that.
Really?
I think I've heard the
No,
first
it's
one was
good.
like okay, and
It's
then
bad.
the second
Then it
one
got
was better. Third one was great, and apparently this fourth one is outstanding.
Okay.
Well,
okay. All right.
at least they're
getting
They
getting
built
better.
They built on themselves, yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
what is your most disappointed game?
Is it Fusion Frenzy?
Fusion Frenzy? No.
Well, and on to other things.
That hit
he's
the
done talking
dartboard
about
at least. yeah. If I start talking about it, no one's gonna listen, right? Probably. No. I mean, I don't buy a lot of games that I'm disappointed by, but Red Steel was a pretty shitty game.
I
remember seeing that one and being like, "That looks awesome."
Yeah, it looks awesome. I was super
because it was like
excited.
sword and shooting, and it was like, "Oh, this is exactly what."
I forgot it was for the Wii.
Yeah, I was like, okay, they're gonna make me feel like I'm shooting and swinging a sword, and that just was not the case.
What's funny is Skyward Sword did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, ironically. Yeah, it was clunky, not good map design.
To be fair, wasn't it one of the first games
that
came
and
out
I'll give it some slack because it was early.
The past is the past,
and I think it was just like, hey, this might work. No one really knew how to use the Wii when it came out.
It was a test,
except for Twilight Princess was the only one that utilized it properly.
Yeah.
And then Mario Galaxy and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Red Steel sucked, but that was a game I bought, and it was a disappointing game for sure. I was and I tried to like it. I was like, oh,
I know.
No,
don't you always do that? Yeah,
you always do that. You buy like, no, this is fun.
I'm gonna find a way to like this, and at the end of the day, make it rewarding.
Watching me like, this game sucks, dude. I'm like, no.
Oh man, no.
You don't get it. And then finally, you're like, it sucks. You're right.
This isn't good.
Try to fight the tide.
Yeah, you do your best.
Mine, I would have to say, the one that I can think of fastest off the top of my head is probably Resident Evil 6.
Ooh, okay.
I know I've talked about it a little bit before, so I won't go into super crazy detail about it. But basically, it introduced some new things which I liked. That the fact that you could move and shoot was huge, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be so awesome" because they added this in. But just how they framed the story and everything was lame.
Really?
Because another thing that they pumped it as was that you're going to be able to play as all these different characters: Chris Redfield, Ava Wong, I believe.
I think so.
And a couple other characters, and you were gonna play, and their stories were gonna intersect and all this stuff. But you would get to and Leon S. Kennedy, and so they were like, oh, you're gonna get to play as all these people, and everybody was like, yes, we get to play as Leon again because he was so awesome in Resident Evil 4 and all this stuff. And then, but you get playing, and you wind up when they say the stories intersect. Yeah, they weren't lying. They intersect at bosses. And so you wind up playing the same boss like 3 times, like at least twice.
And later Resident Evils didn't have the same feel of the Resident Evil that I'm used to for GameCube. They're very much more action-y and less atmosphere.
They very much veered away from the traditional vein of the series, which people got really pissed about. Like I know people hated 5.
Yeah,
I liked 5.
Was that the one when you were in Africa?
Yeah.
And
I liked 5. I thought 5 was fun.
Okay,
but
too much change is bad.
Yeah, but then 6 took it and built on it more, and everyone was like, "No, do not like this."
Yeah,
this really
maybe
sucks.
they'll return. What's the last Resident Evil that came out? Was it 6?
Isn't it?
No, well, they've had a couple. 6 is the last one of the series. They've had a couple ones come out after it. They had this like Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, and then
then they had the remakes.
Yeah, they've had the remakes come out, but then they had this other. It was like a little spin-off series of it that actually was received fairly well, and the name of it is eluding me.
Well, they need to return back to the
but apparently
original
that's what I've heard with 7. They're planning 7. And Capcom has said it's going to go back to more of a scary survivalist other than action.
Awesome.
So
I'm going to get that.
Hopefully it will work out well. Because I don't actually think I finished 6 because I started playing as Ava Wong and she was the 4th character you got to play as, and I was just like,
at least you knew to stop.
I'm done.
I stopped Uncharted when I had the chance.
I can't I don't want to go back and refight the same bosses again that I've already fought. So that was my disappointing game.
See, repetition, man, just like Uncharted.
You got to keep it fresh.
You
do. Keep it fresh.
You got to keep it interesting.
All right. So with that, it is now time to jump into our topic. And as a warning for this episode, for anyone,
Jerrett's gonna cry.
We're going to tell you up front what each of our topics, not right now, but as we get to them, we will not leave you guessing as to the game, because what we're going to be talking about in this one is our favorite gaming moments, or moments that really stood out to us, and not as a brief generalization like, oh, this game was really fun, like I really enjoyed the feeling I got from it. It's like detailing the moment in the game. So because of that, there are going to be spoilers.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fairly spoilery episode. I think all of our games are a couple years old, so it's not like we're going to go and
all mine are old.
mine are within the last few years.
Only one of mine is within the last few years.
So we'll give you warning. So if you want to skip that certain topic, we will say, hey, we're spoilers, give you time to shut it off, and we'll figure out some way to put in here, like, skip to this time, and you can skip this segment.
Two of mine are like,
I'll figure that out.
No need to even preface by saying they're spoilers. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Only one of mine, maybe, if you haven't played it.
All mine are like the ends of games.
Oh, well.
So.
Well, that's why you're prefacing this so hard. I'm like,
well, I mean, that's what hit me the most.
Mine are really spaced out. I've actually got like a beginning, a middle, and an end for each of them.
So you guys are actually probably going to find out the ending on a couple games. So hope,
maybe I'll turn this off.
Maybe
I don't want to listen.
Well, you can leave if you want to. If you want to maintain the
Door's
integrity
right there,
this
buddy.
much. Yeah, so hopefully no one cares. I've accepted that I might have some things spoiled, and that's okay.
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know.
I don't think you're going to play any
you
of
guys
these
have
games.
PlayStations.
Yeah, we could.
These are from
duplicate.
GameCube.
Okay, fine. I might spoil stuff for you guys, but whatever. So I think we decide before we go. I'm going to kick this one off
because Jerrett never goes first.
That's true. It's been a while.
Special today.
So Jerrett, tell us.
So my third game. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Okay, wait a few seconds. It is for Valiant Hearts: The Great War. I mentioned this one briefly in our episode about mobile games. Because I played this one on my phone, actually. So this is an interesting one that you can play it on other platforms. But I played it on my phone. And it surprises me a little bit that this one has made my list. But, so quick background on this one. It takes place during World War I in France, before the Americans are involved in the war. And it's more of a puzzler game. It has a very like cartoonish style set to it. It's also, even though it's about war, it's also lighthearted. Like, there are a couple of like chases that are set to classical music, like popular classical music themes and everything that make it kind of feel a little bit more lighthearted than what the subject matter would allow.
What do you mean by popular classic? Like Beethoven?
Yeah, just really like, now, of course, I'm
or like vintage Taylor Swift. What kind of popular classic are we talking
about? No, like classical
Beethoven. I would put vintage Taylor Swift.
Yeah, no.
Circa 2008.
No, none of that.
That's a classic.
None of that. But anyway, so you play as three different characters: Emile, who is a farmer from France; Freddie, who is an American soldier who comes over to fight, who joins the French to fight for them; and Anna, who is a nurse from Belgium. And so how this starts off is Emile's daughter is married to Carl, who is a German. And so when the war starts, France deports a bunch of Germans, and therefore they deport Carl. But so Emile is also conscripted, or he joins or something to try to find Carl's, something like that. I'm a little hazy on those details.
Wait, does he join the German army?
No, he joins the French army.
I was about to say, whoa.
He joins the French army. And so through course of events, you are able to find Carl, and you get to and all this stuff, and you rescue him.
Carl.
Damn.
I know, Carl.
Sorry.
Also a very emotional times.
So anyway, you're going through this game, and you're rescuing Carl, and the whole point is, Emile writes back to his daughter. He's like, he's sending her updates, and it's a very, very heartfelt story. And emotionally driven story. And so, given this tone of this game, you would not expect the ending to take the twist that it does. But Carl is injured in a battle, and it just so happens Emile is there as well, and he is able to rescue him, and he is, because of his injuries and everything, he's sent home and is able to return back to Emile's daughter. But Emile is still in the war. He's still in. And he is then taken... as part of the campaign, he is part of I wrote it down, the Nivelle Offensive, which was apparently a very bloody battle and lots of casualties on each side. And the French officer that Emile is under starts ordering, the soldiers to keep going, press on, even though people are just being slaughtered all around him. And Emile's like, this is madness. This war is terrible. I'm not going to watch these men be slaughtered as pigs. And so he hits this officer in the head with a shovel to knock him out.
This is all on your phone.
Yeah. I know. It's actually
crazy.
Right? It's a lot.
It's engaging.
It's a lot.
It was an engaging story. Again, I was like, wow, this is awesome. I probably really should have included it on my list of favorite mobile games.
Yes. It wasn't on your list?
No, it wasn't. It was like an honorable mention that I thought I did. So Emile hits the officer on the head to knock him out, and so that he can all the men can be like, okay, we're not going to have to do this. But he winds up killing the officer, actually.
And shovels, man.
And he's
Be careful.
And he's court-martialed.
Oh.
And
Bummer.
and sentenced to be executed and is executed by firing squad.
Oh,
Wait, does that happen?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't show it. It doesn't show it, but like it's implied, and like you see the stuff, and he like writes this heartfelt letter to his daughter about like how terrible war is, and that he hopes Carl and her can Carl
Live on.
can find happiness. But yeah, like I was just it hits my list as like a favorite moment. You guys are assholes for laughing so much about this.
I'm just so struck by the amount of depth that's in. Like, I just see you on your couch, like look at your phone. Like Sam's probably like, oh, he's texting somebody.
No,
and you're like, jeez Louise, like
Emil, no.
You have no idea. I'm laughing how much just depth is involved in this game. On your phone.
I mean, and like I said, you could play it. I think you could play it on the PS4.
And the way you said yeah to me when I said that really happened, you're like, yeah.
It's true, man.
It's true.
It's true.
This is a true life thing.
But it was just so just like. And again, because I was like, I had been used to playing this, and I was like, oh, it's a light puzzler game. It's got this like, it's got this depressed. It really kind of was, and I was like, fuck,
I'm sad.
I'm sad now. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, that's wild.
And just for the medium that I was playing it on, the kind of the twist of how it was, like the kind of like heart wrenching like knife in the chest, twisted around a little bit. I was like, damn.
Specifically, a lot of bullets in your chest.
I know, really. Yeah.
Chest.
Yeah. Firing squad.
And so that's how it ends.
And that's kind of how it ends.
So it is. So you get to be these three different people. Is Emil's arc kind of the last one?
No, they all intersect. So like you'll be Emil.
Okay.
You start off as Emil, and then you'll be Freddy for a while. And then you'll be
gotcha.
Anna, but then you'll switch back to Freddy, and then back to Emil.
And the game does that switch for you. Like you don't choose.
Yes. It's not like you have a quick access menu, and you're like, I'm going to be Freddy now.
So what happens in the
what's he
game
up to?
immediately after you're Emil? Like, what's the segue there?
There's like a cutscene.
Oh, okay. And then does it go right back to like lighthearted happiness? And are you just really not prepared for that, or does it continue on with
the
that
story?
subdued
The
tone?
the arc near the end does get darker, so you kind of feel like at first I was like, oh, everyone's gonna go home happy, kind of thing, and then like as that final episode ended and everything, I was like, oh,
Carl got to go home happy.
I know this is going a little dark.
Well.
Fascinating. I kind of want to play it.
You should. You check it out. I'm sure it's probably pretty.
I see this the why you preface with the spoiler.
Yeah,
that's a lot of
That's
spoilers.
a big spoiler.
Yeah.
It is. I mean,
That's such a twist.
Sorry, mine are big spoiler things because that's like.
Thanks.
Sorry. I mean, you guys picked this topic
that's-
to go along with it. There's gonna
You
be some
all allowed it to
spoilers.
happen. This is all your fault.
All right, so who wants to go?
Who's going next?
Zach, you're
go
ready,
next.
right? Yeah, Zach's ready.
Born
Go for
ready.
it.
All right.
Absolutely ready.
I guess we should go clockwise.
Yeah, I suppose so. My number 3 for memorable gaming moments. First of all, I could have you joked earlier over Facebook chat that I was going to do Halo and Halo and Halo for my top 3.
I just
Easily
assumed
be expected.
It was
that
difficult
the
not
case.
to do that. I will say, so many of my moments would come from Halo.
And to be fair, there's 5 games and then some.
Right.
So
yeah,
there's
I
a lot
know.
of
It's like,
content there.
The percentage
lots
is
to
high
choose
that I'm
from.
going to land in Halo. But I obviously I have so many other games that I could choose from, and so I have. My number 3 then comes from Elder Scrolls, not Oblivion, but Skyrim.
Oh, okay.
And I know I've talked about both. I'm not sure when I talked about Skyrim specifically, what episode, but I see it
sure
in the picture. I think you used
We were talking about side quests.
side quests. We
Oh,
were,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
and
It's a fun topic.
that was a really good topic.
Now
yeah.
I remember
That was
what
fun.
Zach was talking about.
Thanks
It
again,
was like
Becca.
horrible.
Yeah, it was frightening, wasn't it?
Yeah,
when you
it
beat
was.
the priest in the
Oh,
cage.
yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
Terrible.
It's very memorable. Very memorable. This I've talked about Skyrim with you guys before and on the podcast. How I think it's a lesser game than Oblivion, the other Elder Scrolls I have played.
Right.
A
And
lesser game.
Because Oblivion is in your
It's
top.
quite a
top 3.
It is.
condemnation.
Yeah, it is. I know, and I stick by it. And it's Skyrim. I think for the most part wasn't. It's not a boring game by any sense, but it's just not the most difficult game, and it's not the most. It didn't have the same quiet, subtle magic that Oblivion had. It's so much more in your face. And I remember, I think I explained it as like Skyrim's like beating on an orc skin drum with bones, and
Yeah.
Oblivion's like playing a flute in a tree or something. That's my analogy I think I used. And but there is a moment in Skyrim that I really, really loved, and I kind of knew I was going to love it. I was so excited to do it because in the Elder Scrolls games you have a plethora of options to join different guilds, to do different main quests or side quests or what have you. But one of the best guilds that anyone that's played the Elder Scrolls know is the Mages Guild, and that is like the magicians, wizard clan, if you will. But it's a school, and there's one in Oblivion and there's one in Skyrim. The one in Skyrim is the College of Whiterun, and the College of Whiterun, I guess it must be near Whiterun now that I'm thinking about it. But
that would make sense, given the name.
But
I just would have assumed it was an arbitrary name. He just picked 2 words.
But I'm trying to think. Whiterun in Skyrim, and I might be mistaken, is like destroyed. It's like not there. It's
like a crater.
Sure
like
no, just a hole. It's like just burnt houses. I think there's like shacks. I just remember walking through a small village up to the college. And so I know where the college is. You like the Elder Scrolls game, this is not on your map at the beginning. You have to go find it.
Right.
And you kind of make your way there by talking to strangers. Like, oh, you go this way and what have you. And so that alone is really exciting because this College of Whiterun has kind of been ostracized from the rest of Tamriel, or at least from the city of Whiterun, because they think there's a big feud that happened earlier before you are like implemented in the game that there was a lot of distrust between the mages of Whiterun and the rest of the world. Kind of, there's something happened.
The whole world, not just
like
the town, everybody.
I'll let's just keep it within for Whiterun right now. But I do know there's a lot of distrust for them when you get there, and it's one of the more beautiful buildings coming up to it. You come up this stone stairwell. Mogan's going to Google the College of Whiterun.
You know how I feel about it.
Winterhold? Maybe it's a Winterhold. What's the actual name?
Get your damn facts right.
Hold on.
Oh, wait, Winterhold. There we go.
God, I've been saying Whiterun. That's why it didn't make sense to me.
Wait, that wasn't even the right thing?
No, it's
You're
not
just
the right
making
College of
crap up
Winterhold.
over there?
Winterhold. Excuse me.
Amendments.
Wow, that was a lot of mistakes in the last
Where's
5
our
minutes.
fact checker, Brandon?
Oh, they're not
Where
going
is
to
he?
like that. They're going to be like, that's really
I'm
wrong.
going to eat you alive.
Okay.
You might as well quit for the rest of this
Winterhold.
episode.
Is the snow level?
Well, it's
This
Skyrim
your
is snowing
MO.
everywhere. Yeah, it is my MO.
He loves that snow.
There's a huge, beautiful, stone staircase going up to it, and then a very long bridge. There it is, and it's kind of stands on its own. Yeah, on that big rock.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I got there, and it was nighttime, and the stars were out, and you meet the person that basically allows access or grants you access into it, and you have to perform a certain magic trick to show that you are of skill enough to get in.
A worthy mage.
Yes, and what I
Gotta
like
pass the entrance exams.
you got to. And what I liked most about coming to this university to study magic, if that isn't already cool enough, it's like going to Hogwarts. It's really exciting, and it's always like an exciting thing to do. There's nothing that dramatic that initially happens. You go down the quest line, and there's a huge story that is really fascinating. But getting there for the first time, you're just meeting people. You get your living quarters, you get your clothes, you get all these things. And Elder Scrolls does a really good job of making that experience feel very authentic and personable and kind of special. You know, it's very cool. Ah, there it is. Mogan showing it again.
I like
look
it.
how it's epic, but also
very
this is good.
impressive.
a little
This is a good
scary.
image.
You
Yeah, this
know?
is good
You can
imagery.
see why
Foreboding.
you can see why people might have been
white and
nervous.
it's snowing, but the building
Right.
itself is very foreboding.
Yes, there's 24 people in there that could
Like most college.
electrocute me.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have such a great memory of entering the building and getting in my living quarters and looking through all the stuff. There's books, and they have and there's friends, and you meet all these people, and you go to class. That's one of the first things you do. You go to
Make
your
friends.
first. Yeah, you go to
Do
your
they
first
hand
class.
out a syllabus?
No, but they there's a teacher, and you sit and you listen, and you totally sit there for at least a
long
couple
is the
minutes.
class?
It's like
Okay.
2 minutes, and he talks
I really
about.
wish they had made it a full hour.
Oh my god! Could you
55
imagine?
minutes.
There's a test at the end. It's like, you want to continue? You're like,
Pop
"Jeez
quiz."
Louise."
It's like I want to choose a different route.
I'm gonna go to
The quiz is on the syllabus to see if you read it.
Seriously. And ignoring the whole quest line that does eventually happen, which is really fascinating and unlocks this library underneath, and this big mystery conspiracy comes up. It's just really exciting to join this these people, especially compared to the other things you can enjoy. Because a lot of other things are like not so nice people or more warrior-based people. It was so much more. It was collegiate and it was like academic, and it was almost, which is ironic to be in a video game and actually be quote unquote fun. But but it's such a cool interior place, and you feel like safe there. You're like, I'm one of them, and just that whole experience of coming up into the college and learning. You get to learn new skills. It's
you would join the nerd guild.
I would. I know. I did. You need to be a part of that guild if you want to do well, I think.
I see.
Orcs suck. And wood elves rule.
Is that their alma mater?
What's it called?
Much.
Their fight song?
Fight song. There we go.
Not their alma mater. That's like where you went.
What's it called? Like the song of universities?
Like
what's the word for that? No, there's a word for it.
There is. The fight song.
No.
Their creed, their mantra.
Their mantra?
Is that? I don't think that's right.
Orcs wouldn't like us. They'd call us milk drinkers. You're a milk drinker.
You love some milk.
I was going to say, Zach loves milk.
I do, yes.
Milk's delicious.
It's great. But orcs in the game, which
Strong
I think
bones,
is funny,
everyone.
if you're like a wood elf like me, they'll be like, hey, milk drinker. And I'll be like, taste the wrath of my arrow. You damn orc.
That's the best you can do. Best insult you got.
You can do.
Milk drinker.
I'm from the university.
I know things.
I know things.
Look at this diploma.
Back away. I'm familiar with things. But yes. So the College of... Sorry, Jerrett. I was ripping your headphones off. The College of Winterhold. Not Whiterun.
Not Whiterun. As previously thought.
It's a really great experience, and it was one of my favorites.
Nice.
At Skyrim.
Mogan, what's your number 3?
Okay. So, actually, Jerrett got a little bit of a preface to this. So, prior to me having a PS4, I did actually have a PlayStation 3. And I still have a PlayStation 3. And I do, in fact, have a PlayStation Network and a PlayStation Network ID. But I never tell people what it is because, A, I don't really online game currently. B, they wouldn't know what it is regardless. So Jerrett, right before we started, was like, oh, give me your ID so I can add you. I was spelling it out for him. So my PlayStation Network ID, in case anyone wants to know, is...
Is this a spoiler?
Oh, yes. Oh, so the game, just a preface, is The Legend of Dragoon.
Oh,
okay.
Super often talked about game.
PlayStation 1.
On this
I knew that this would be a great opportunity for me to bring this one back up to the table. I'm always looking for new ways to talk about it. And it's actually a part of the game we haven't talked about at all before. So this is going to be like new Disc 1 content.
Cool.
We've talked about Disc 2, 3, and 4. But this is really going to be Disc 1.
Nice.
What's great is that Disc 3 to 4 always breaks.
Right.
You always got to get a new one. So Disc 1, very reliable.
Good.
So in Disc 1, there's really the first character that joins your party at all. So you're this guy, Dart. He's the worst. He's the one party member you wish you can switch out and the game won't let you. Mm-hmm. But the first person that joins you is this guy named Levitz. So my PlayStation Network ID is called Levitz Lives. So it's Lavitz. Lavitz,
lives.
And then another capital L-I-V-E-S.
That's a good tag.
Shout out to my bro. My bro Mogan. I was texting him when I was setting up my PlayStation 3, and I was like, bro, can you change your PlayStation Network ID?
Cannot,
and he was like,
discussed.
no, you can't. And I was like, oh my God, you have to help me think of something. And so we're texting. And I'm like, Chop, you're the smart one. You're supposed to know this stuff. And he was like, oh, okay, how about Levitz Lives?
He just came right out with it.
Yeah, he just came right out. Like, this was a couple of tries later, but he was like, Levitz Lives, because we grew up on The Legend of Dragoon together.
Sure.
It was our game. And he was like, Levitz Lives. And I was like, oh my God, it's perfect.
That's very good.
Luckily, no one had taken it. Oh, thank God, of the 2 people on planet Earth that have played The Legend of Dragoon, both of whom are named Mogan. Neither of us had taken it yet. I don't know what his was. Maybe Shauna Rules. Who knows? But so Levitz Lives, in case anybody wants to add me, it's my PlayStation Network ID. So,
I added you today. You should accept it.
Does that transfer your PS4?
Yeah, it did.
So you Levitz
I
Lives
logged
on
in.
PS4.
Yeah, no, I logged into my
I
existing
dig
account. So
cool.
I got to not make a new one because God knows I can't think up names. Thank you very much, Bro Mogan, for coming up with that one. That's his real name, by the way. Yeah, Bro Mogan.
Bro Mogan.
Bro Mogan.
Bro Mogan. I know.
That's his real name. He plays Super Smash competitively. You should fight him.
How good is he?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I back down. that was a quick answer. I concede.
White flag.
White flag.
So Levitz Lives is our homage to arguably one of the best characters of the game, which is ironic because he doesn't even make it through Disc 1. So he's the first guy to join your party. The setup is you are Dart. You're trying to rescue your girlfriend, of course, from this place called Hell in a Prison.
Okay.
It's called Hell in a Prison because it looks like hell, and it's prison. And you're like, okay, here I am,
descriptive enough,
infiltrating this jail, and you're like trying to work your way through the jail. You're all by yourself, so battles are kind of hard. You're like level 1 at the time, so it's not the easiest thing, and you're just getting the hang of the controls. And then there's this one point where you're on, like, I think the 3rd floor, and you're about to go get your girlfriend. And then you get surrounded by guards from the prison. And they're like, you bastard! And you're like, oh God, I'm gonna die. And then, like, coming off from the side of the screen, you see these, there's no dialogue, there's just dialogue boxes. You see these dialogue boxes that are like, ugh, blah, blah, like dying noises from the prison guards. And then Levitz bursts onto the scene. Ooh. And you can tell that he knows what he's doing. Even
you look like you're competent.
He looks like a man that knows what's up. So even though he's just polygons, remember, this is PlayStation 1. Graphics were not good. He's just polygons, but he's got like this giant lance that's like a spear, javelin, whatever. And he's dressed all in green with like armor, and he's got like short army blonde hair, like G.I. Joe almost. And you're just like, oh, thank God. Finally, someone awesome to join me. And he's like, you, what are you doing in this prison? And he's like, what are you doing in prison? He's like, busting out. And it's like, oh, good, us too. Would you join our party? Just like, oh, friendships made in prison last a lifetime.
That's what they say.
That's so I hear.
That's how they work. So Levitz saves you, you fight a bunch of bad guys, and then you bust your girlfriend out. And so this all happens in a fairly short amount of time. And then going through the rest of Disc 1, it's really just you as Dart, Levitz, and really just 2 other characters here in the beginning. So it's just Shauna, who is your lady interest, and she's the bow and arrow person, so she's basically useless. And then there's Rose, who is the biggest badass in all of history. So it's almost like a dream team. It's like Dart, boo. And then there's Levitz, yes, awesome, the best. And then there's Rose, also the best, but in different ways. Okay. And so it's just like, yes, this is correct. This is a good game. We're just going to keep it this way. Shauna will never be on the team. I just won't.
Because she has bow and arrow. Bow and arrows are great.
Not in that game.
Okay.
No, not in that game. It's not the
polygon
same.
arrows.
No, you don't get to.
Tough
Yeah,
to
it's
pierce
bad.
people.
No, it's bad.
Yep.
They only do 7 damage initially. It's just unacceptable.
That sounds like an exciting moment in the game. Actually, a prison break.
Yeah, so that's not the moment though. So you bust.
But
we're going to come back to this. So Hell in a Prison is a place that you have to visit a couple of times in the game. So you've been playing through all of Disc 1, and at one point you actually make it back to Levitz's hometown, which is actually the Kingdom City of Bale. And Levitz is a knight in whatever army under this super lame king, King Albert. He's the worst. He's just so interested in peace.
Wow.
That's boring when you're in a game where you just want to fight.
He's very diplomatic, and you're like, oh, this guy. But he has a super suspicious advisor that you like. So you're coming back from the prison. It's Levitz, Dart, and Shauna, and you're ascending up the stairs to go basically have like a debriefing with the king. So Levitz is like, yo, king, I busted out. And Albert's like, that's awesome. We're super good buddies. You and me, man, number 1. And then you see, like, behind the king is this guy in this big, black, shadowy cloak. And you can't see his face.
Evil.
Yeah, you can't see his face, and you're like...
Because of the polygons?
This guy, because of the polygons, yeah. No, you can't see anybody's face. Nobody has faces. They're just blocks. So you're like, this guy, and you actually recognize him from the opening cutscene of the game. So you already know he's bad news. Like, he's definitely bad. And you're like, oh, God, King Albert, he doesn't even know. This is bad news, man. But you don't really, like, address it at the time. Dart's not like, this guy, because Dart didn't know. He wasn't at the cutscene. But so you leave the town, go do some other crap. Things happen. All things that make you love Levitz more and more. Eventually you find his Dragoon Stone. So you actually have to fight a giant dragon. You kill the dragon. You kill the guy that was controlling the dragon. And the guy dies, and he's like, Levitz, you're my predecessor or my successor. Take this Jade Dragoon Stone. And so Levitz is really your 3rd Dragoon alongside Dart and Rose. And he's like the element of wind. And so he's a really good combination of both like semi-healing power and also like aggressive wind attacks and whatnot. And he's just like, this is the best. I love Levitz so much. And then as part of the game, you eventually have to circle back to Helena prison because now King Albert has been kidnapped. And it's bad news, and he's been taken to Helena prison.
Probably by that guy in the cloak.
By the man in black, by the man in the hood, I think is what they actually call him.
No one addressed when you were there.
Yeah, so it's bad. So you make it back to the prison. You actually have like this kind of Star Wars-esque cutscene, but like this battle where they drop you into a dungeon. Oh, jeez. They drop you into a dungeon, and this thing... What's the part in Star Wars where Luke...
that is from
what's it
episode
called?
6.
Yeah, tell me all
Return
about
of the Jedi.
it. Tell me all about
Rancor.
it. Yes, it's just like that. You have to fight this big monster like that.
Jabba the Hutt's palace on Tatooine.
Well, the man in the hood is Jabba the Hutt. Yeah.
Damn. Crossover.
Yeah, wow.
But a lot skinnier.
Star Wars character.
So you have to fight this monster, and you get out of the dungeon, and Levitz is like, don't worry, your majesty, we're going to save you. Because not only is he his king, they're also buddies. And then so Levitz is running up to save King Albert, who's like tied up on the ground or whatever. And right as he gets close enough, the man in the hood appears out of nowhere, flings off his cape like very dramatically, stabs Levitz right through the chest in midair with a sword iconic called the Dragon Buster.
Nice.
And it's like this glowing orange-red blood death sword. And it's like a freeze frame.
Theatrical.
And you're just like, oh, it's so theatrical. Like so this is an actual cutscene, which is still really polygony, so you can't really tell.
Right.
But they at least have eyes and mouths.
That's
so
good.
you can tell that Levitz is dying. And so he like pulls the sword out of Levitz, and Levitz collapses onto the ground. And everyone is just aghast. Even Dart like runs towards Levitz, and on the screen it's like, Levitz! And there's like a lot of different letters in that. And it's just... Playing it the first time, I actually remember my bro was the one playing it because he was ahead of me. Mm-hmm. He gets through the battle, Levitz gets stabbed. I'm sitting kind of right behind him and to the side. He probably doesn't even know this. We had to be 10 to 12 at the time. And I had to actually get up and leave the room to walk back onto our back porch. I sat on the top stair of the back porch and legit cried.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding. I was like I was holding it together. I was like, I'm going to cry.
This is the first time.
This is the first time we ever see. So
this.
Since then, I've played it many times. He has died many times. So I just remember.
Has the hurt lessened?
It's just as bad. There? It stings just as much.
Well,
so I didn't want my bro to see that I was gonna cry. So I had to get up, walk outside, take a walk, cry my feelings out. And it has it's the worst thing. Oh no, that's a different. Oh yes, it is.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it.
I pulled it up.
Oh my gosh, no.
Phone.
Oh no.
Levitz should have seen it coming.
Oh, that fool. He has too much pride.
Fool. Oh, there it is.
Wow. Look at that cool sword though.
That's the Dragon Buster.
It's like a
slow-mo fall.
Oh.
That's Rose. She's the best. That's Lloyd, the man in the
Lloyd,
that's his name. That's true.
We don't want you here. Wow,
So-
it's not that bad looking. I mean, it's
it looks
Oh
pretty
no,
good.
that's because it's a cutscene.
yeah.
Yeah, you haven't seen the rest of it. Oh, there we go.
Dang.
Oh, and he's just
bummer.
he's as dead as it gets.
At least he looks like he was,
So that's
doing what he
really
loved, jumping.
he was awesome. And so the real letdown is that after Levitz dies, King Albert inherits his Dragoon Stone and becomes the next member of your party as the Jade Dragoon. And I never used him out of spite. Out of spite, I was like, no, Levitz is my man.
You'll never be Levitz.
How dare you
He'll
take
never
Levitz's place?
I know, that was my feelings on it. I was like, we died. Levitz died for you, you son of a bitch.
Out of my face.
I hated Albert more than I hated the guy who actually killed Levitz because it was all Albert's fault.
For Albert,
I was just like, no.
You let yourself be kidnapped.
You hired this
you.
guy. You didn't even do a background check. You don't even know where he came from.
Clearly he's
evil. Look at how he's
all
dressed.
black.
And I was just, it really hit me right in the heart at the time. And
Just like the sword hit Levitz.
Except right in the heart.
Well, now I like how your name though is
Levitz lives
in memoir too.
because he lives on.
Levitz.
He lives on in your heart.
Levitz lives.
Technically, way later. So this is actually probably disc 4. Way later in the game, you kind of go to this dead world, kind of like an underworld sort of thing.
Levitz chilling
and you
there?
kind of.
It's like, it's great down here.
Yeah.
So you actually can encounter his ghost, and all through throughout the game, you're collecting these things called Stardust. And my bro and I, even though we had the strategy guide, our theory was that if you collect all 50 Stardust, you can revive Levitz. Boy, is that not the case.
I appreciate the dreaming, though.
Eternal letdown. I think bro Mogan can feel my pain on this one.
That's what made him cry.
He probably started crying the minute I had left the room. He was like, "Don't cry."
Hold it together.
I would like
Strong,
to know that
powerful.
he also... Yeah, we're
Powerful game.
We're a stoic family, though. We don't like to let other people know. So that's
Very
my
nice.
number 3.
I can't wait to hear you do 2 and 1.
Seriously.
Actually, I probably should have restructured the list.
Yeah, that sounds like your number 1
does.
from my this
Sorry.
side of the table.
That is actually the only one where I cried. I probably should have. Number 1. That was
You're
my number
going
1.
1 to
We're
3.
working,
All right,
we're working backwards.
Well, damn.
Well, shit.
I'm on my number 2 now, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, it
It'll
would have
still
been
be
number
my
2
number one.
regardless.
Yeah.
You're where you need to be.
So my number 2, and again, this is another spoilery one. All of mine are, so get over it.
Yeah. So you've been warned. Here
At
we
least
go.
mine was only disc 1. You still have 3 more discs of content to get through.
Damn.
Yeah, truth.
Although we know what happens in later discs now from other episodes.
Well,
So
they don't know the whole
You
story.
can piece it together.
all right, so mine is the 2013 game Tomb Raider.
Ooh, Mogan knows that game. I did not play it. Continue.
Are you going to be
Come
bummed?
on.
I will be now. You're right. Because what if I
Oh.
want to play it? Yeah.
Close your ears.
That's okay.
It's.
I know the moment. I already know.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
He
I think I
doesn't
know.
know.
I
He's
think
just
I
saying
know.
he knows.
I've mentioned it briefly
I think I know.
before as this
I'll let
moment.
you know if I'm right.
So anyway, Tomb Raider. It's the reboot of the Tomb Raider series by Crystal Dynamics. And the one thing about this series that made it awesome is you do not start as the Lara Croft that we all know and love. You are in a storm at sea, and it destroys your ship, and you are washed ashore onto this island of Yamatai, to which you were looking for. So
We found
it's
it.
great. You found it.
Luck goes a long way.
It's not how you wanted to find it, though. And to make a long story short, you're on this island, and you are to discover I can't remember the main reasons. That's not
doesn't matter.
important right now. But the main
Queen
thing that's
Himiko.
important.
You're looking for Queen Himiko.
That's right, Queen Himiko.
I can fill in the
you guys
blanks.
can
I
help
can
each
fill in the
other.
blanks.
because she is the rumored Sun Queen. I made some notes on this, and you're trying to figure. And you're trying to find-
S-U-N.
Yeah, S-U-N, like the sun, the solar.
the solar
sphere.
queen.
I was like, the man queen?
And you're going to, because this island has been forever shrouded in myth, and it's almost a Bermuda Triangle of sorts. You get there are tons of other shipwrecked
Don't
ships
you actually call it like
and
the Devil's
planes.
Triangle?
Yes,
or
they
the
do.
Golden Triangle
The
or
Devil's
something?
Devil's Triangle.
There we go.
And so the thing about it is that you're going through, and what Crystal Dynamics did so well, and what makes this game so great, is that as the story progresses, you progress towards becoming Tomb Raider.
Because at the
Lara Croft.
beginning, Laura is not a fighter.
She's just a person.
No, she's a
just
person.
an explorer. She's a
She
regular.
obviously has some explorative skills.
Yeah.
But fighting,
survival.
She's
explored
She's
before.
got survival.
She's got
skills,
survival
but not
skills.
like combat.
right?
Okay.
Which she is forced to quickly learn because there's a group of crazed madmen on there called the Solari,
Okay.
and they're led by the madman Matthias.
Oh, he's a real dick.
He is a real dick, huge dick,
Also, he's ugly and
is
fat.
ugly.
Yeah.
Worst things.
Worst things.
and the Solari kidnap your companion Sam.
Oh, and she's awesome.
Yeah, because as the story unfolds, the sun god Himiko is still alive. She's immortal. They were figured out this way to transfer her soul into a new body, so that she lives forever. And that's what's causing all of the storms. Because her latest, the girl who was supposed to take her, be transferred. Himiko was supposed to be transferred into, committed suicide before the. What is the word? I'm missing
The ritual?
The ritual.
What
Thank you.
What do they
Thank
call
you.
it? The fire ritual.
The ritual is
ritual of fire. Whatever it is.
The ritual
There's
is
flames.
finished.
Yeah.
So Himiko's body was stuck in the old body, which died, and so her soul is at unrest, which is why all these storms are happening that keep people from being able to leave the island once they get there. So Sam is to be the new vessel. And so because Matthias is if I can bring Sam to Himiko and have her transfer into there so she can live, I'll be able to get off this island finally. And so Sam is kidnapped through the fortune of events, and at the very end of the game, you go to rescue her as the ritual is taking place. So you're a race against the clock. And
it's very tense.
It is
like getting to Sam,
tense.
you're just like, oh my god.
Because you're fighting not only through the Solari, but you're also fighting through the mythical Storm Guard, who are Himiko's guards, which they're like these undead samurai. Oni. Yeah. And you finally get to the top of the ziggurat where the ritual is taking place. Matthias is there. You start fighting Matthias, and of course you have, you want your pistol. And you're shooting at him, and you have your climbing axe that you can use too.
Your pickaxe. That's my
your
mom's
pickaxe
fave.
is so fun to use that thing.
Brain, just right in the skull.
Just instant death.
It's awesome to use because you can use it to climb. You can use it to fight.
It's such a multi-tool.
Yeah,
so useful.
it's great.
We should all get pickaxes.
We should. People should have pickaxes like
They
in their
should.
car.
Yeah.
On the regular.
Yeah.
Everyone needs one.
in your pocket.
Let's go to REI.
And
They've
so,
got 'em.
obviously, the big thing about Lara Croft, like one of the iconic things about Lara Croft is that she has dual pistols. Up until this point, you have not used dual pistols at all. You've not even had the option to make it happen.
But you've used a pistol.
You used a pistol, yes. And so
a pistol.
you're fighting Matthias,
Pistol.
and he is shooting at you, and you're shooting at him. He runs up and attacks you. You use your pickaxe, and you're like hitting him with it, and all this. You hit him like once, and it like stabs him, and then he like pushes you down.
He's old.
He's old, but he's got that like mythical, like
He's cheap.
He's got that strength, old man strength. That you hear talked about.
Everyone knows about that.
It's a thing.
You peak at like 62.
Yeah, no.
You get your real strength.
62 is the new 55.
So he tackles you, and
Old damn old big strength. Get off of me.
it's great. He tackles you. He's trying to like kill you, and you push him off. And in the process, you grab his pistol from his belt because he knocked yours away, and then you have it. But then since he's incapacitated slightly for a moment, that gives you the time to reach over, grab your pistol, and it makes it this big like cutscene.
Yeah.
You pick up your pistol, pull him up, and just start unloading dual pistol into Matthias.
Yes.
It is awesome.
That
You
is
waste
very cool.
him.
This game had been, you shoot him off and he falls off this ledge to his death.
Oh,
and then
he's
holding those
dead.
dual pistols.
holding the dual pistols for the first time, and that is the moment that you get to use them.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Great moment,
It
I'm
was
sure.
awesome.
It's-
Goosebumps. You can attest to this as well because you played it.
I cried.
Holy shit. It was awesome.
But they were tears of awesome joy.
Yeah, that's
Because-
really
Not
cool.
the same kind
The
of
game had been
tears.
awesome because, like I said, that was what made this game great. Was seeing Laura's progression as time goes on through the
That's
game,
what
and
you
her
know.
becoming Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
that moment
that's her.
signifies she's Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
She
She
like, this feels
adjusts
right.
to murder quickly.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like after that first
I
crying
mean, it's
spell,
survival.
she was
Survival.
like, okay, I've killed
Kill or
one
be
guy.
killed at this
Might
point.
as well. You do one, you might as well just kill everybody.
Yep.
Yeah,
But she is Tomb Raider.
I dig that. I think I actually watched that cutscene on YouTube.
Yeah.
it's
You should.
know,
If you
which
haven't,
is-
you should.
Yeah, it's a good scene. It's
It
really
was
cool.
awesome.
It's really, really cool.
Greatly well done.
I got everything I needed out of that game by watching the cutscene. Well,
there you go.
That's it.
You didn't.
I played the game.
It's a lie.
Yeah, I played that. Yeah, it's a great cutscene.
So let's cut to your.
Oh wait,
Jump
so
cut,
Zach
number
looks
2.
a little unprepared. Can I just do a quick shout out? You know when you're climbing the
don't
tower
look
in
unprepared.
Tomb Raider,
He
you look
so
you
ready.
look
He
looks cool as a
surprised.
cucumber.
I'm so ready for my number
When
2.
you're climbing the radio tower and it's like you're on the top of the mountain and you're going way, way, way up, and it's like so quiet.
And you get to
And
see
you
like
get to
all
the very
the-
top, and then you're just on this tiny little pinpoint, and you pan around, and it's just like, holy shit, I'm gonna die.
So
Because
cool.
I'm afraid of heights. And it was just like, oh my god.
It gives you the very much
and
like
then you
the
get to
feeling
zip
of
line down. It's just
Yeah.
like, that's my favorite midpoint moment.
I should play that game.
You should
it's
play
it's fun.
Sounds fun.
It's for
They
Xbox
put it on
One.
Xbox.
Yeah.
You have no
Yeah,
excuse.
you have no
I
excuse.
have no excuse.
Definitive edition.
How
in
much
fact.
is it on the Xbox store right
You can
now?
get
Oh,
you can get
it's
the
gotta be
director's
stupid
cut
cheap.
with all the DLC for like $18.
Yeah, it's got to be cheap.
That is
You
Yeah.
should do it.
Okay.
It's
Maybe I
worth
will.
it.
Maybe I will. We have a review for it.
Ooh.
Even though we all know like
Yeah, we
reviews
might. Yeah, we
might
might.
not be that interesting.
May not. By this point, we've talked about it a lot.
We're gonna put that in the vault.
Yeah.
No one's gonna.
We'll come back to it in
Yeah.
like 3 years.
Yeah, hey, remember that game? Okay, my
Okay,
number
so
two.
your number 2.
My number 2 comes from my most recent game, and this is also probably going into Jerrett's territory. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
There's somewhat spoilers here if you have not played this game. The game is, which I've talked about before, Metal Gear Solid 5. Metal Gear Solid 5 is layered and riddled with really unique, interesting moments. Now, the only drawback I would say for Metal Gear Solid 5 with the amount of kind of exciting moments that they try to implement, a lot of them don't have the gusto that the story can really uphold. You know, they don't so much of Mogan showing me how much I can get Tomb Raider for. $17.09. That's not too bad.
That's pretty cheap.
That's pretty cheap. Metal Gear Solid, it just doesn't. It is like I was saying, as much as it has the unbelievable cutscenes and the unbelievable experience of playing the game, the story is kind of, as now famously, kind of wish-washy, confusing, bizarre, exciting, cool, but also incomprehensible at times.
Right.
I mean, I might say that's kind of Metal Gear's MO.
It kind of is. It's what they.
Others may have been a bit more bombastic about it, but kind of all over the place and wild is what they're known for.
They just whatever kind of comes to their mind. Let's put that in the game.
Yeah.
And only really several moments occur for me, at least. Maybe I replay, I'll get more out of it. Maybe other people got better things out of it by playing the older Metal Gears and knowing exactly what was maybe happening in the long run. But for me, at least, only a handful of moments really hit home. But when they did, it was like a grand slam. It was really well done, really well executed, and in line with a lot of the prologue leading up to it, the exposition that kind of formed these great moments. And the moment that comes to my mind, there's a few, but the one that I guess I'll talk about today is, here's the backstory for it. There's a virus that is a big part of the game, and we'll call it the vocal cord virus. I'm not sure exactly what the exact term is in the game, but it's a virus that gets into your vocal cord, and you get it, I want to say, by just speaking.
That's scary.
Right. It's like
everyone
transmitted.
talks.
Everyone talks. And the thing behind it's like trying to eradicate language. It's a really interesting concept that I don't have the wherewithal or intelligence of the game to go into, but that's like the backing theme. It's like we're gonna eradicate language, and there's only gonna be one language or something like that. And
English, yes.
Man, I want to say English is the language that does
language.
get pushed.
Is
It's
it
like this
really?
is the one that
just
must
being
survive
obnoxious.
or something like that. I know it might. It's like
Let's
Americans
push the
are doing
Americans.
My
it now.
vote is for Spanish.
And you
know that
see
one.
people during
like it.
the game that has.
Well,
I guess I'm
you'll
done
learn.
talking about Metal Gear Solid.
Just know when to talk, Zach. We're finishing up on something
Well,
here.
this is
Tomb
the end
Raider
of
over
language.
here.
We're helping
Tomb
your
Raider on
case.
this side of the table, Metal Gear Solid on this side.
No. Okay. Sorry. Continue. We were
it's
just debating
fine.
that I don't know Spanish, so why would that?
I can
That
talk
wouldn't
to
make sense in the
Pope.
official language.
Wait, what?
I said she wanted Spanish, and I was like, I don't know Spanish. That wouldn't make
that's-
sense.
You can
having
learn. You can learn.
conversation.
It's easy.
I guess. Sorry.
One of the traits of the vocal cord virus is your lungs start to turn into a greenish inflated blob lung, which doesn't work anymore pretty much. And you also have every other characteristic that a zombie might have. You turn into a zombie kind of. And so they kind of stole that, but whatever, it's cool. They use it. And what happens several times throughout the game is this virus somehow makes its way to Mother Base. And Mother Base is this, think of it as like an oil rig in the middle of the ocean that you own as Snake, and you
Just casually own.
just have it. It's like where your military is.
my offshore
Because he has
investments.
this military, and money's a big play in it. You have to build it, and it gets enormous. I mean, you have to drive a car in order to get to different sections of it. It really gets big. And but you have all these. Every time you go out into the field, you can capture enemies, and what you do is you put a little what do you call it, like a balloon, like a weather balloon on top of them.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Yeah,
from
and they
gameplay.
fly into the sky, and they land at Mother Base.
That's
It's very amazing.
wonderful.
It's so Metal Gear Solid. It's
Rapid
so,
delivery system.
Yeah, it's so just fun.
If I were ever captured, I hope that's how.
yeah,
At least you get a fun ride
and you
out
get a
of it.
little personal kind of gift. You kind of, you know what I mean? You kind of remember.
little
You're like,
present coming
this
out
guy,
of the sky.
He's a high-ranking soldier. You're coming back with me, and everyone gets a name, and it's a random. You learn very quickly that the names are randomly generated. It's like an adjective and an animal, so you can be like ferocious moose, or
Nice.
scary frog. I mean, these are real. I'm pretty sure those are two real ones. they're that bizarre. They're really strange. And you have these, and they become diamond dogs, and they join you against their will or not, what have you. And they love you.
Seem nice.
They love Big Boss. They love Snake. They're and I'm telling you, every time you get off the helicopter, there's 8 of them waiting for you, saluting you, and they say, "Welcome back, boss." And you beat them up, and they say, "Oh, I love that, boss." It's a really interesting kind of relationship.
hell?
Yeah, it is. They're like, "Thank you, Big Boss. I'll have another," and you just whoop their ass. And
That
you're like,
sounds like a
it's-
really abusive
It's
relationship.
really a strange thing. It's really fun to do. You put them to sleep, and they wake up, and they're like, "Thank you, thank you."
I enjoyed that rest. I needed that.
So, and I'm prefacing by saying that you have this team. You have a team of diamond dogs, and they're your friends, and you dig it. They help you out in the field. They do missions you don't have time for. And you set that up. You put teams together, and there's a percent of like how successful they're going to be. It's an amazingly in-depth game. Twice though, unfortunately, the vocal cord infection virus gets into Mother Base somehow. The first time, you have to go back and figure out exactly how to stop it, which you do kind of in time with the help of this code talker, old man guy that kind of gives you like the secret to how to do it, if I'm remembering correctly. The second time, however, is a lot worse. The second time, when you get back, everything's in chaos. A lot of people have contacted this virus, and they have set up a quarantine zone within Mother Base, and your job is to investigate. You have to go inside the quarantine zone and sort of investigate. I don't know if there's like someone you have to find in there, a specific person, but you...
Ferocious Moose,
the leader, perhaps so. And you are tasked with just going in there and you put on a mask and you're like, I'm going in. And really fun moment in the game. It's like a horror game all of a sudden. It's like Resident Evil.
Awesome.
It's everything changes. You are cut off from the rest of the Mother Base, and you have a guy. Well, you have a guy in your like radio talking to, but you get in there and there's like, dead bodies everywhere, blood splattered all over the place, and people like crawling on their like hands. And what you have to do going through this is a lot of these people have gone full transformation. So you're going through and you're killing a lot of them, which is a bummer. You're like, oh, these are like my ferocious
Scary
goose.
frog, no.
Scary frog. And they have names. When you I think you can like see their names when you hover your gun over it. So it kind of makes it even more personable. And if that wasn't enough, like that is a great moment. Not like great as in a positive energy moment, but like it's just a really memorable gaming moment in the game.
Sticks with you.
It totally sticks with you. It's a really unbelievably well-crafted little sequence. But you eventually get to a room, and there's about 20 to 25 diamond dogs. They are all not quite fully transformed. They're, to like the naked eye, they look normal. But when you put your night vision on, you can see this mist coming from them, and you realize that they are going to become zombies or become whatever they are. And so you're in there and they're all looking at you and they're like, it's like us looking at each other right now.
We gotta kill him.
Well, it's like it's the elephant in the room. Like Snake's in there with his like assault rifle and he's just looking at us. He's
got a gun. This doesn't sound good for me.
He seems tense.
Yes, he does. Yeah, something under his gas mask. I can tell. And you get like this, the music starts to swell, it gets louder and louder, and like through your voice commands, you're like, you know what you have to do, boss, you know what you have to do, and you do it, and the music, like, it's a really well-timed sequence. The music goes off, and you just unload into like 25 of your diamond dog friends, and you kill them all. You have to kill them all, and the music's blasting, and they're all like, no, they're all like screaming, and it's like horrific, and I'll never forget it. It'll
stick with you, man.
Oh my gosh.
I made a clip of it.
Oh, really?
I did, but I didn't save it twice like you have to do, and so I don't think I have it anymore. But I was like, wow, that's a really great moment. And then at the end of it, they're all dead, and it's like, you did the right thing, boss. And he comes out, and he's all distraught. Kiefer Sutherland, he's like, what have I done? It's a really, really great moment. And I'll never forget that one. The whole sequence is incredible, but the ending of it is
I've got like
great.
a sinking feeling in my stomach.
It's a bummer because you love
pretty rough.
Love these guys. You like them.
Beat their ass, but then be like, you know what? You deserved it.
A lot, you and I. You like them enough, and you're just like, it's a lot of soldiers we're gonna lose.
I gotta go attach a lot more weather balloons to people's asses.
You
man.
do. Yeah, it's just you're losing. Yeah, the economy goes down in your mother base.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, but that's a pretty big
sure
spoiler,
I
I
can
guess, because that's a really big moment. You know, that's one of the memorable moments from Metal Gear Solid. Really good moment. That's my number 2.
I'm sorry.
Pregnant now.
But you gotta bring it together. You gotta pull it together.
Okay.
For your number 2.
All right, so this probably should have been number 3.
Yeah, we probably need to step it up a little bit on the speed.
Oh, are we running? Okay, that's okay.
I don't know. We've just been good.
It's been an hour,
so this is a very...
it's been about an hour.
Is it really? Shit. All right, so this is a very impactful moment, but objectively, it's really short.
Okay.
So, spoiler alert, and this is actually a spoiler alert because it's the ending of the game. The game is Metroid Prime.
Okay.
So originally Metroid Prime released for the GameCube 1,000 years ago. They did release the Wii Trilogy Edition, so if anybody has a Wii, you can still go back and play it. But Metroid Prime, for me, was really the first Metroid I had ever played. So, of course, the games leading up to that were like the 2D side-scroller, highly pixelated. They were old. They're just old, dated games that I had no interest in. And really, before Metroid Prime, Metroid wasn't even on my radar. I knew of it, but I didn't know really anything about it. So, picking up Metroid Prime, I'm pretty sure I read about it in Nintendo Magazine back when I was subscribed to that. Or they may have done it on X-Play. No, I'm not. I've moved too many times. They can't forward. No forwarding address. So I remember reading about it and I was like, oh man, this looks awesome. Specifically because I approached it as an alternative to Halo, actually. So this was right around the same time that the first Halo came out.
So this is for GameCube.
And it was like an alternative first-person shooter. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, Halo was kind of a letdown for me because I only got because I only got.
We won't get into that.
You don't remember.
We've talked about this.
Correctly.
I regret that. I'm going to go back and redo it someday. But Metroid Prime, I was like, yes, this is the first-person shooter for me. So we picked it up and I'm playing it. And for starters, it's a awesome game from start to finish. It's exactly what I was looking for in a game. It combines combat with exploration because a lot of times you're just going through these very detailed, vast regions of the game, and even if you're not really fighting anything and you feel like nothing is happening, stuff's still happening. You still always feel like you're somehow engaged, even if it's just in the environment. You accidentally mess with a nest of hornets, but they're like giant mutated alien hornets, and you're oh, super, that's great. So there's a lot of lore and backstory for this about the Kozo. We've talked about them a little bit.
Not the Chozo.
Not the Chozo. That's the incorrect pronunciation.
That's a bad word.
Similar to SNES, which is the correct terminology.
Incorrect.
The Kozo are really like this kind of alien bird race that built Samus's suit. So you're Samus Aran. You're a space bounty hunter. You're an Amazon. You're 50 feet tall. Not really, but you feel like you're 50 feet tall.
What, 7 feet?
Yeah, she's about 7 foot. She's
Her
huge.
Chief
She's 6'9".
Her Master
she
Chief
could beat the crap out
of
you.
Okay, we'll come back to that a little bit later.
So really one of the main things is as Samus, you know that you're a female character. You know that you're a female protagonist, but she's a silent protagonist, so she doesn't speak at all in the games. But at certain points, if you shoot and the lighting is just right, you can see her eyes reflected through your visor,
very cool.
which was a touch that I loved.
Yeah,
your visor will fog up if you walk through certain condensation. Raindrops will land perfectly on your visor if it's raining, and you can see Samus's eyes. And so, she's female. You know this.
Right.
But it didn't really sink in as I'm this Amazon ultra powerful bounty hunter until the very end of the game. So leading up to the end, you know that there's this crater that has this meteorite in it that is the source of all the problems that are going on I think it's called Talon Overworld is the actual region in the game.
Probably.
And you're this is where all the evil's
I'll
coming
go with
from.
it.
I gotta do something about this. So you fight Ridley, which is that giant dragon. Metal-esque, very alien kind of looking, from the Alien movies. You beat the crap out of him, and then almost immediately after that, some other stuff happens, but pretty shortly after the battle with Ridley, which is a huge battle, you basically descend into the depths of the crater to fight the Metroid Prime. So this is the Metroid that the game is named after. The Metroids are actually those kind of mean jellyfish-looking things with the little claws on them, and they attach to you.
Which you kill a lot of.
Yeah, you kill a lot of smaller ones.
Right.
But the Metroid Prime is huge. The Prime is the source of all the problems, and it's this giant beast. I think it goes through a couple of different phases while you're fighting it, and any good boss battle has different stages.
Right,
It's never one and done.
Don't just be
you
a walking park.
You gotta have a couple of scares where you think you got him, and then you really didn't. So you're going through this battle. You've actually upgraded to this wild dark armor, and you've got this crazy new addition to your arm cannon. You're just this is the best. And then you beat the Metroid. And it kind of lashes out at Samus as its last dying effort, sucks away the dark armor that you basically got from her. So she's back to her regular suit, which is still a really freaking scary suit.
Yeah.
It's huge, but it's
Samus.
no, it's not Zero Suit Samus. This is real Samus we're talking about here. Okay. So she's almost like a giant terrifying space football player.
Yeah.
So you beat the Metroid, it sucks away your dark armor, but you're still like Samus, you're still awesome. Things start exploding immediately, as with any boss battle. Samus kind of jettisons out of there by magic, I guess. She does a crap ton of flips and like awesome Samus stuff. Everything is exploding. You get to the surface, and the sky is completely dark. It's raining, there's thunder and lightning. She leaps onto her iconic bounty space hunter ship, like her iconic ship that she's always on, and she's like standing on her ship in the rain and the lightning, and she's just looking out over the Kozo ruins, which are in flames, collapsing all around her, and she just like dramatically takes off her helmet for the first time in the game.
Wow.
And you
nice.
see her face.
I'm like there right now.
She's got like, she's very... not masculine, but strong. Like, you can tell she's gonna beat the shit out of you if you cross her. And she's got her blonde hair and like the ponytail, and she like doesn't really make any expressions, but she's looking out. She kind of closes her eyes for a minute, like in a brief moment of contemplation. And then, like, with lightning and rain in the background, she just descends back into her ship.
Wow.
And flies away.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
And it's just like she's got her helmet under her arm, and it's just like, oh my God, she's awesome. And that's actually the best ending. So that's if you got 100% of the game, which I don't think I did the first time. I think I got between 75 and 99%, because there's different percentages of the ending that you can get. So if you get the 100%, you also see the birth of Dark Samus.
So loud.
Sorry,
So
I'm just getting
loud.
us ready to
Yeah.
watch this because I must see this now.
Oh, it's beautiful. So the graphics weren't that good at the time, but it's still like very, for me, there weren't, at the time, there really weren't that many standalone female protagonists.
Right. No.
Right,
Especially,
true.
Especially in the sense of a first-person shooter. So like being Samus and seeing her do this big reveal of like, holy shit, I knew I was already a woman, but now I realize I'm the strongest woman in the universe. I am the woman.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
Like, this is me, a notorious bounty hunter. I am a huge badass.
Okay, so here she is standing over
It's
this.
just in flames. There's the helmet.
Oh, wow.
She's just looking out, and she's like,
God, look at those shoulders.
I know,
Those
look
are
at her
awesome.
giant
Humongous.
shoulder blades.
Samus's armor is awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
She's amazing.
Wow.
And I like that they didn't overly make her look too youthful.
Yeah.
You can
She
tell
looks
that
like she's been through some
She's not
shit.
young Laura. She's like Samus a few years down the line. Like, this isn't her first rodeo.
Right.
She's been doing this shit since the 80s.
Right.
She knows what's up.
Very cool.
So it was just like, for me, at the time, I was still pretty young, like probably 14 or 15. And this is, again, one of the few games that I've actually beaten that I love because I'm a non-finisher. So I think I beat this game on a rare snowing winter day in Tennessee. And it was cold because I had opened my window on purpose. And so like I'm sitting there at my GameCube and it's snowing outside and you can hear the very light pitter-patter of snow. And I'm watching the end of this game and I'm just like, holy crap, this is awesome. And it just has stuck with me forever and ever and ever.
Nice.
I can see why.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
totally see
That's
why.
an awesome moment.
That's a really,
It's an awesome
that's
moment.
a very good moment with Mogan.
Speaking of,
Oh, wait.
That's right.
it's that time. We've talked about a lot of moments, but that was an
good.
excellent
That was
segue.
good. I totally forgot that we were going to
Nicely
separate.
done. Nicely done.
Yes.
All right, so it's going to be pretty short today. So, moment with Mogan. You guys have stopped doing the music. I mean, I know I told you to, but...
Because every time we did it, you guys are like,
You know what? Don't do it. Don't even do it.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta
gotta
give me
hit.
some music.
All right, so we already talked about it. This is the last shout out for upcoming Overwatch. So it is currently May 24th when you're listening to this. That means Overwatch is out. It's available for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox. Go out and get it. Probably me, Jerrett, and Zach will all have it, which is rare because we never really... Now we actually have that ability. So, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which you may or may not recall, was one of the ones from my beginning of year list that I was the most excited about. This one's actually coming up on June 7th. I didn't even realize we were that far into the year, and I'm freaking out now. So it's going to be available for PlayStation 4 and Xbox, Zach.
Yay.
So you can play it as well. Deadlight. This is a return, so it's Deadlight Director's Cut, June 21st. I had forgotten about this game. I never did play the original release. So the first release of this game was back in 2012, and they only did it for Microsoft PC, Xbox 360. So it wasn't even available on PlayStation. But now the Director's Edition, they're doing a couple of new add-ons to the game and whatnot, but they're also releasing it for PlayStation 4, I think PlayStation 3, Xbox One, and Xbox 360, and Microsoft PC again. So it's going to be for virtually everything except Nintendo. And now it's a 2D side-scrolling horror survival game. It actually reminds me a lot of Limbo, like in art style and overall feel. So if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, June 21st, that's your date. And then, of course, No Man's Sky.
Oh,
not that far away.
What date are we
June
talking about?
21st. So it's gonna sneak up on us.
I feel like we should
man.
know more about it at this point.
It's gonna sneak up on us. So it is gonna be, as far as I know, only for PlayStation. Oh no, yeah, it's PS4, Windows, and not Xbox. If I'm understanding correctly.
What?
Is it not?
I think it has to be.
Is it?
I would be
know.
shocked if that's an exclusive.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
I
Looks
could be
like someone
wrong
needs
about
to get
that.
on the PS4 train.
Yeah, Zach, now's the time.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And then we're just going to segue right into other, so non-releases. We do have some new deets on Outlast 2. So it's actually not going to be coming out until way later this year, I think fall of 16. But Outlast, notoriously horrifying survival game. Outlast 2 is, I think, going to be bigger and badder and more scary than ever. It's going to be 20 to 30% longer for starters. So you're getting a crap ton more gameplay out of it. All the more opportunity for you to change your pants after you piss all over yourself. And then there's going to be an all-new cast of characters, so no one from the original game is going to be coming back. I think they confirmed that via Twitter. And it's going to be for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. We need to play that and do some live streams.
Well, if it's coming out it's coming out in fall, it'll be right around like Halloween probably.
Oh my God. That'll be our night-isode. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to
the
it.
night-isode. I don't know if have we mentioned the night-isode.
We haven't mentioned, so we'll
briefly
save it.
mentioned
We'll save it.
That's what I want to
Glossing
do.
right over that. So now that I've actually been able to play Dishonored, I'm also even more excited for Dishonored 2. So I was super hyped based on the trailer they released. What was it, last year? Mm-hmm. It feels like it's been a while now. But they did confirm that you will be able to play as both adult-age Emily. So she was a child in Dishonored. She's an adult now, a basically dethroned empress on the run. She's got all sorts of motivation to kill people right and left. Or you can be Dishonored's first protagonist, Corvo. So you can either...
Let's talk about how badass of a name that is.
Yeah, you can either be Emily or Corvo. They did confirm once you choose, there is no going back. So I think that's an interesting take. Obviously, I'm going to be Emily. Come on. And then it's going to take place in the beautiful southern town of name I can't pronounce. So it's not Dunwall. So it's going to be a bit more of a different feel. It's not going to be quite as dismal Victorian-esque feel. It's going to be a bit more sunny Spain, but the overall feeling will still be one of panic and terror and killing people right and left. And they've said it's going to be more vertically oriented. So there's going to be a lot more scaling of buildings and jump attacks and all kinds of stuff. And then there's Nintendo making some vague statements about the NX. Really just
vague. Doesn't even exist.
So they've really just made some weird references that are saying like, oh, the NX is going to be neither a successor to the Wii U nor the 3DS. It's going to be a weird hybrid of both. So they're trying to build it up as some sort of, obviously, next, NX, kind of thing. And I'm just, they're going to need a lot to impress me on that one. So we'll see about that. But, so that's the moment with Mogan.
Very nice.
Very well done. Always a pleasure.
As always.
Thank you for those updates.
Now that you were actually here for one, Zach.
Yes, well, I've only missed one. It was the last one. I came back, I was like, fascinating.
Fascinating.
Interesting.
So it's time for us to jump into our number ones.
We'll go ahead.
Now, I will give the option right now. I could not do favorite gaming moments without talking about my favorite game of all time.
Oh, God.
No.
Here we go.
After we talk about it now, I must go into the vault forever. Same with my number one, probably.
Same with Legend of Dragoon at this point, too.
Come on, I've only talked about it like
fired.
twice.
I've talked
that's three times. That's at least three.
No.
There's 4 discs, man.
But I have only briefly mentioned Last of Us stuff of this, and it will be brought up again. But I'm giving the opportunity, since I have said how good of a game it is. If you guys don't want to be here for it, I can record this later if you don't want it spoiled. Just me. But I can do that to give you guys the opportunity if you want to maintain the integrity of how
Why are you
awesome-
putting us
I
in this
feel like-
situation?
I feel
Why
like
have you done
he's
this?
saying this because he doesn't want us to see him cry.
Yes,
That's
it's
that
a
too.
secret.
Is this like?
But
my,
no, I'm just saying because I believe
It's
it's that good of a game. If you guys want to be able to enjoy it without being spoiled at some point, I don't want to be the one to do that to you.
I can't even play the game.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
I'm
because it's not for
physically
Xbox.
unable.
Oh
Ooh.
no.
Exclusives, man.
Exclusive. That's
Okay,
damn
so then-
exclusives.
I can play it, but I'm the type that can still enjoy a medium.
Okay.
Knowing the spoilers, so
All
go
right.
for it.
So this is spoiler heavy to The Last of Us. If you are still have that one on your list, I suggest you skip this one. So The Last of Us. This takes place. So brief overview.
Where to begin?
Disc 1.
There's a virus outbreak. It infects people. It's like a fungus that takes over their minds. I've gone over this before. I won't go into it in depth now. But at the beginning of the game, it actually takes place here in Austin. The beginning of the game does. And yeah, like in the suburbs and stuff like that. Joel is the main character. And in this course of the outbreak of the virus and people reacting to it, his young daughter is killed. It's a very emotional scene. When that scene came up, I was like, "Oh, I see how the rest of this
They
game is
hit you
going to
with the
go."
feels early.
Oh,
I do know
man.
I've
at
heard the
least
first
that much.
cutscene, yeah.
Man, it
I've seen my
hit
bro
right off.
play a fair bit of this game.
Okay, and so that I right then was like, "Oh, this is not going to be my normal video gaming experience," and it's not. So in the course of the game, your main objective is you find this girl, Ellie, and she is seemingly immune to the virus. She was bitten by someone who was infected, which normally in most zombie undead stylish games, that's mark of death. Like you're done for. But she was bitten and has not contracted the illness. So this group of resistance fighters who are trying to do their own thing, the Fireflies, they're trying to do their own thing outside of the government, which is basically lock down everything. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, she's our chance. She's our hope for survival, but you've got to get her out of the city, which you're in Boston at this point. And because this takes place like 20 years later after the events of the opening of the game. And so you're in Boston. They're like, you've got to get her, though, to this Firefly stronghold that's in Salt Lake City. So you have to travel. So that sets up the travel of this game.
So you're going from Texas to Utah?
No, Boston.
Oh.
Sorry, not Austin.
But the beginning scene is in Austin.
It is in
isn't
Austin.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
But
yeah.
then there's a 20-year time jump
Okay. To Boston.
to present
Right on.
time
Okay, I
in
know,
Boston.
I wasn't listening.
And
Keep
that's
up,
when you
Zach.
have to
No,
go.
I was thinking about my number one.
So you get Ellie, and throughout the course of the journey, and of course, and originally Joel sees her very much as just like he's a smuggler at this point in his life, and he sees her more as just like she's cargo. I have to deliver her. I have to get her to where I need to be. I'll get paid. I'll get my reward, whatever, and I move on. I don't care. But throughout their journey and the ups and downs and the twists and turns that come through it, they become very close. You would say she becomes his second daughter, and he starts to view her in that way, in that light. And so they finally make it to Salt Lake City, and they are attacked by a huge horde of the infected. And Ellie is injured, knocked unconscious, and everything. And as is Joel. And right at the last second, when all hope seems lost, the Fireflies rescue them. And Joel wakes up in the hospital.
Ooh, nice. Luxurious.
Wakes up in the hospital and you see that is the lady, the Firefly leader who first gave you Ellie in Boston. She's now at this hospital and she's talking to you and like, hey, thanks so much. Like, I can't believe you were able to make this journey. This is great. This is going to do a lot of good things for us. And, we'll be able to make a cure. And Joel is like, well, I want to see her. And she's like, well, you can't. It's, she's being prepped for surgery. They have to remove the mutated fungus from her to be able to make the cure. And Joel's like, well, wait, it grows around her brain. And she's like, yeah. And so basically it comes out the only way to make this cure is Ellie has to die. Mm. And Joel is not having it because here he is. This virus took from him his real daughter,
yes.
20 years ago, and he made him a bitter human being. But now he's found this new chance of having like a second child. So, over the course of this game, their bond grows and is super strong, and you feel it in Joel. And you're just like, Joel's like, no, like selfishly, Joel is like, no, this can't happen.
I don't know if I want to hear the rest. I'm so curious.
Well, you can stop now.
Continue.
Okay. I'm giving you every out.
I know. This is gonna ruin the game.
And so Joel's like, well, I can't have that. And Marlene's basically like, well, tough shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to have to happen because the world is here. And so she tells the Firefly guard to take Joel away. Joel breaks free. And he goes on a rampage through the hotel trying to get to Ellie before they start cutting into her brain. Yeah, hospital. Yes.
Maybe it should be a hotel.
Maybe it should be. But the hospital to go rescue Ellie. He gets into the room right before they start operating on her. A doctor tries to stop her. He kills that doctor.
Oh, wow.
And then
whoa,
takes Ellie and is just like,
it's unethical.
I'm getting, she's unconscious. She doesn't know any of this is happening. And he takes her out of the operating room and is able to get away to the parking garage. And there is confronted by Marlene, who's holding a pistol at him. It's like, look, you still have a choice. You can make this right. And he's just like, no, I can't. Like, it's Ellie. I can't sacrifice Ellie and lose this again. And she's like, it's good. You still have the chance to do the right thing. You can get away from this. And Joel shoots her.
Whoa.
So at this point, he's burned his bridges.
Oh.
He doesn't shoot Ellie. He shoots Marlene.
Yeah,
for clarification.
Yeah. It's still a big statement.
Shoots her. And then it cuts right then. Like, you hear a gun go off and Marlene react. And then it cuts to Joel's in a truck driving away. You don't know if he has Ellie. You don't see Ellie. And he goes along, and then you do see in the back, Ellie wakes up. So he did actually go through with taking her. And they get away, and they're walking to go to the settlement where they're going to live. And Joel tells Ellie that, he says, hey, it turns out they didn't need you. There are like a dozen other people who are immune to this, so they didn't need you to make this cure. And she's like, oh, okay. And right before you go into this settlement, she tells you that before Joel found her and all that stuff and started this journey, she had her best friend, this girl Riley, and they were kind of like living on their own, doing their whole thing, and they both got bit at the same time. Like, they were attacked and bit by the same time. And so, Ellie watched her best friend die and everything, and then she didn't die. And so she says, basically, she's like, I'm waiting for my turn. She's like wanting her way to be able to give back. And so Joel realizes, having given the chance, Ellie would have chosen to die to make this cure. And so Ellie looks at Joel and just says, so just promise me that everything that we've done was worth it and we've done all we could. And Joel says, I promise. Then it goes to Ellie. And she says, okay. Cut to black. Credits roll.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Really good.
Man.
Like, I hope you guys can still go play this, or at least watch.
I'd much rather play it.
Yeah, you will have the opportunity at some point, I'm sure. We will figure out a way to get you to play this game. But oh my God,
wow!
Like, the game, the credits are rolling, the music's playing, and I just sat there, just stunned.
That's such a good ending.
Just couldn't. I had to process it. I just sat there, let the credits roll in the dark room.
Did you also have to go outside and cry?
I teared up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet.
I rewatching the video, the gameplay footage of it, and rewatching that scene, and man, it was just like it all hit back, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
So good.
It's so good.
So many conundrums in like the last minute.
It's ridiculous how much I've never. It had to be my number one, and I'm
choices.
sorry if this ruins it for someone, but you were warned. But I could not.
In good fair warning.
I could not include that from my list because it is my number one gaming moment of how that.
Very well done. Very well said. Mine does not match that emotionally at
Zach.
all. Mine is just more for me. It was great kind of thing, and it wasn't structured great. Well, I guess it kind of was. Mine comes from a game that probably. Well, we'll have to cease and desist from talking about maybe like The Last of Us and maybe like
You're running out, buddy.
Do you know what it is?
It's probably Halo 2, right?
It is Halo 2.
Okay.
It is totally Halo 2.
You got to switch to like the ODST or something.
Wow. ODST has some great moments.
It does.
It has a great soundtrack.
Excellent soundtrack.
The
Oh my God.
atmosphere in ODST.
I don't know anything about that game other than the soundtrack. And that soundtrack is
on my way home.
rock solid.
It is so good. That's like a film noir. It's just
it
like
really
rain
is. It's so good.
and jazz. Yeah, really, really good. Wow. I switched my answer. Some saxophone in there with those grunts. Mine is from Halo 2, and it's towards the beginning. If I'll start back at the beginning from Halo 1, and essentially Halo 1 never... Earth is mentioned many times, so is Reach, where basically that's where you're fleeing from at the beginning of Halo 1. You're running away from the planet Reach, which is a human colonized planet, and it's destroyed. It gets totally destroyed. And coincidentally, not coincidentally, but that is what the game Halo Reach is about. I don't know if you
it's a fun one.
Halo Reach is a great
really
one.
like Reach.
I did not know that.
So and the whole tagline for Reach was "Reach will fall."
I thought it was like a metaphorical reach.
You knew at the beginning what the end result was going to be.
Everyone's
going to
die.
great.
And that's why, and that's actually shit, man. That ending of
that
Halo
ending
Reach
was
is
excellent.
really good.
Oh,
Fuck. I should talk about the ending of Halo Reach because that's a really, really good ending. I'll mention it as basically the very, very ending before the credits roll is you just getting overrun by Covenant, and it's kind of fun. It's like almost a bonus mission,
like a last stand.
Pretty much.
You will always die though. You can survive somewhat longer than like the previous time, but you always go down. But it's for like the good of getting
and I feel
Master
like
Chief
that's
out of
its
there.
own kind of fun
It
to
is.
know that you're doomed,
Halo
but
Reach
to
is a
keep
great
trying.
ending. I'll come back to Halo Reach as an ending as some other memorable moments because I'm pretty sure we could do another top 3 memorable
we
moments.
could.
There's so many. God, that's good, and everyone's sacrificing themselves left and right during that game. There's so many great sacrifices. It's unbelievable. This comes so Halo 1, Reach is mentioned, Earth is mentioned, but you're never fighting near or around it. You're always at the Halo Ring or moving back to maybe I think where does maybe I think it's always the Halo Ring actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, the whole Halo 1 takes place in the Halo Ring. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. And Halo 2, so what was a big thing, it was, at least for me and at least my friends, and probably the majority of the community, was this idea of Earth, because we knew Earth was there, and we always wanted to be like, oh, what would it be like to fight on Earth? And that's really what Halo 2 promised on. They said, we're going to bring the fight back home. You did Halo 1. Everything is smoothed over for now. It's at the end of Halo 1, you realize it's just, Master Chief says it's only getting started, which is a really great kind of thing to say at the end of the game. Gets you really excited.
Yeah.
And Halo 2 sort of begins, even though it's cutting back and forth between the Covenant and the humans and like what each kind of people are doing. For the humans, for the UNSC, the military that's surrounding the planet Earth in the defense mode, they're kind of celebrating the accomplishments of Master Chief and Sergeant Johnson, and it's a really
There's
nice
so
moment.
many accomplishments.
Oh, he's saved us plenty of times.
That's a year-long party.
I know it is. And but they are cut short. Covenant fleet enters through slip space, totally surrounds Earth, plus the UNSC forces. So many of the ships get destroyed outside your window. That's a really great moment,
What a
too. You're kind of walking through with your gun, and you can look out the window, and just explosion of all these UNSC ships getting destroyed. And you're like, oh, fuck, these guys mean business. You know, they're not here to apologize for what happened in Halo 1. They're here to take it one step further. And you have a great moment where I'm going through great moments to get to the moment that I really enjoy. You have a great moment where the Covenant put a bomb into the UNSC ship that you happen to be in, and your first accomplishment is to get to the bomb, defuse it, and you do. But Chief is like, you know what? Let's turn the bomb back on. Open those doors. I'm going to give them their bomb back. And you're like, oh, what a fucking badass. And he totally does it, which is a really insane moment. Even for me, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like,
but it's awesome.
He's flying through space with this bomb, and he puts it onto a Covenant ship, and then gets into the ship. Like, someone blasts open a door, and he goes through the ship, and he's in the middle. It's a beautiful cinematic. He's in the middle of this enormous core that's like runs the Covenant ship, and the bomb's there, and he presses off of it gently and drifts outside. And then,
it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Awesome.
It's so good. And the ship blows up, and it's just an unbelievable moment. And then he lands on another UNSC ship that's like going to Earth, and he lands on it, and he gets inside.
Super convenient.
Yeah. And so that's where my great moment kind of comes in, is the next time you play as Chief. Pretty much there's a mission that you're the Arbiter, then you come back and you're Chief. And you finally get to fight on planet Earth. And I don't know if it was just me or me and my friends, but there was something so exciting about that. I don't know why or how to explain it. I think maybe because it was something that they really promised and they were like, it's going to be great, or it was because of this E3 demo that was amazing. They had a really good E3 demo of people fighting on Earth. But I don't know, there's something about your home territory, and it's like I've said this before, the Halo franchise has done a really good job of making it feel like your back's against the wall. And when you're kind of pushed back into Earth and you see this Covenant ship that's over New Mombasa where you're fighting and where they're coming to, it's like, I don't know, it becomes really personal. And you have this...
It's your home.
It's your home. And
you come into my house.
Exactly. And so apart from being really excited to like fight on Earth and see exactly how the game does it just from like a gameplay mechanics, it's also the way they set it up is one of my favorite cutscenes from any of the Halo games. But it's 3 Pelicans flying through New Mombasa, and in such great Halo fashion, the music is not loud and intense. It's very delicate and nice, and there's explosions kind of happening around you. They're almost timed to this violin that's playing. Mm-hmm. And I think we've both listened to the Halo soundtrack plenty of times. I think it's called Delta Halo or New Mombasa. New Mombasa makes more sense, but I think it's Delta Halo.
Okay.
And it's a really beautiful track. It's really slow, and it's kind of got small piano keys here and there. It does not feel like you're about to fight a war, which is so cool. They do a really good job with counterpoint music, and you're flying through. There's 2 scouts, I advise we do not go in there. We should turn back. We should scrub the mission. And of course, Sergeant Johnson, your famous human sidekick, well, I guess Chief's human, but he's like a military human, is, fuck it, we're going in. And you're like, yes! And you get this kind of like feeling, and then a scarab pops out, shoots and the scarab, if you don't know, is this Covenant military vehicle. In
it's like a tank,
marks.
right?
It's like a tank that looks like a spider, and it has a mouth that blows out like
Wait, does it look
blue
like a
steam.
Scarab beetle?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's got 6
would make
legs
a little more sense.
or 4 legs. Maybe
4
it's 4
legs.
legs.
I was
Something
going
like
to say, spiders have 4 legs.
Yeah, it's like kind of crawling around the city crushing stuff. Takes out one of the Pelicans, and you get shot down as well. And that's when it starts. It's not like some safe landing into the safe zone to like, let's form up and figure this stuff out. You get like shot into an alley and like 6 of your Marines are dead. And you're going out, and I would talk about the campaign mission as a whole, but I don't think that counts as a moment. Though the moment kind of leading up is the real moment that I guess I've talked about. And also what Halo does so well, like I've said before, is this level of mystery. Mm-hmm. Why New Mombasa? Why here? Why is the Prophet of Regret in that ship, and what's it doing here? And there's like a quote at the beginning where Keyes' daughter is, we don't know like why the ship's here, but we're gonna ask the Prophet, and like it's like insinuating that we're gonna like kick his ass and totally take that information from
him. Ask the Prophet.
Exactly, like what's going on? They've already like. The streets are littered with Covenant. You have to basically... There's no civilians, but you get the sense that like that's because they've all died or what have you. You know, you're basically taking the city back from the Covenant that have already taken it. And Halo, it was everything I wanted from Halo 2 in that specific mission. It had unbelievable level design. It had great cinematics. There's a point that you might remember. There's like 8 jackals that are shooting through this alleyway, and it's super difficult. Sniper rifles, and everything's crumbling around you, but it's also so fun and exciting. It feels like you're fighting on a Halo ring or something. You know, it still feels like Halo, even though it's in this future or this city on Earth. And the whole lead up, it was one of my favorite all time Halo moments. Is the first time I was able to fight on Earth and really feel like I was making a difference. Yeah. Another thing Halo does really well. You make the difference. You know what I mean? You as Master Chief. Turn the tide constantly.
That is your sole purpose.
Are like, it's not you and the Marines with you. It's just you.
No, it's you.
You're the X Factor, and you're constantly called in. So it's just such and I can't describe how much I love that cutscene of them going in. It's simple. It's nothing too crazy about it, you know. But it's Halo in a nutshell for me. And that whole mission in the end and everything that comes together. They chase the Prophet of Regret through slip space as it's about to like backburn and blow up New Mombasa, and they barely make it. It's just there's so many like just barely make it moments, which makes it so exciting.
It's exciting.
Heart pounding.
The whole mission of New Mombasa, but the lead up to it is just like I just remember how I felt, and I'll never forget that. You know,
nice.
So excited. But yeah, it doesn't have the emotional punch that The Last of Us, I suppose, has. Maybe Reach. One day I'll talk about
Reach is good.
Reach,
the ending of Reach is very emotional.
Reach is really good.
Oh, the whole thing is actually very
everyone's
emotional.
just like, go on. You know, as they're like dying.
Because they understand what they have to do.
Just a succession of
Yeah, it really is. It's a domino effect. Yeah. Those guys are doomed.
It's a good ass game.
Really good. But yes, that's my number one.
Okay.
So bring it home for us, Mogan.
So we had a beginning. So Levitz's death was really the kickoff for all of the remaining events in Legend of Dragoon. Then we had an end with Metroid Prime. End of the game. Close us out. This is a moment that's kind of right smack in the natural middle of the game.
Okay.
And you could almost call it a turning of the tides. Oh, and that's actually a really good pun that I made off the top of my head because the game is Wind Waker. And of course, you're on the Great Sea.
There's tides on the sea.
Nicely done.
I am so smart. So, it's Wind Waker. It's not new. If anybody hasn't played it, that's cool, but I'm going to talk a lot about it forever. Eventually, it's going to have to go into my vault, I suppose. But we haven't talked about this particular middle moment, which is really, it's one of the most iconic moments probably in any Zelda game for me. Like a lot of the others, they are jam-packed with iconic gaming moments, but this is one that has stayed with me for the longest time. So you are on the Great Sea. You're Link, there's cel-shaded graphics. The game has very much had a lighthearted, almost goofy tone. So even though you have this overbearing need of, oh, we're trying to save the world, Ganondorf's out and about, you know all of this, we have to basically save everyone from evil and doom. So to do that, you have to get the Master Sword. So you have to have your magical sword that can banish evil or whatever, and to do that, you have to go to a place called the Tower of the Gods. And the Tower of the Gods is not initially on your map. There's every square of your map contains a single island. None of them contain more than one. And I think there's, what is it? It's a 5x5? Or is it a 6x6? There might be 36 total squares. Or 25, I forget. It doesn't matter. So there's only, you can sail around very easily to all the squares before you actually have a reason to be there. And you can add them to your map. But there's one square kind of right in the middle, and there's nothing there. It's just empty ocean, and you're like, what's supposed to go here? But surrounding it, in the adjacent grid, are 3 corresponding islands called the Triangle Islands. They're very small. They're just little triangle-shaped islands, and in the beginning, they each have this really kind of derpy-looking statue, almost like a potato person. Like, you look at it and you're like, this thing's weird, and at first there's nothing you can do with them. But leading up to the Tower of the Gods, you have to go and collect the Pearls of the Goddess. The Pearls of the Goddesses. So Din, Nehru, Furore, they are the golden goddesses of the Zelda series. Everyone should know them by this point. Just everyone. All people. You included, Zach.
Yes,
And
I'm
Jerrett. Jerrett, you should know.
I know who they are.
So,
question
you're collecting up these pearls, and once you get all 3, it's like, okay, now we can access the Tower of the Gods, and guiding you through all of this is your boat. Your boat that's like the king of red lions. So he's a talking boat. He'll turn his head around to talk to you, but he has like no arms and legs. He's a boat. So he's like, okay, now we're going to go place the pearls in their statues. So each of these statues has the symbol of the goddess on its corresponding forehead. So you go around, you place these pearls in the hands of these really derpy looking statues, and at first nothing happens. But then they start to radiate with this pulsing glow. And so you place the first one, and you're like, okay, this is all right. Nothing immediately happens. You go to the next island. You place the next one. Starts radiating with its glowing. You can do these in any order, by the way, so you can change the actual cutscene by changing the order.
Okay.
You get to the last Triangle Island. So 3s are obviously a big thing in the Zelda series. So you get to the third Triangle Island. I always make sure that it's Nehru, the blue stone. She's my favorite. So you place the last pearl in the last statue's hands, and it starts glowing. And it kind of makes a bit of a cutscene, not like a big one, but just a little small one. And so the pearl starts glowing and then kind of does this, like you can tell it's building up this big noise, and Link freaks out and he actually like slings himself off to the side because he thinks it's going to explode. And it reaches the climax of the sound and nothing seems to happen. And so Link is like, what? And so like he climbs back up to look the statue right in the face, and it explodes and slings Link way back into oblivion. And you can see, so Link is off screen now, he's gone, but you can still see the statue. And suddenly it's this beautiful crystalline, either red, green, or blue statue of the goddess herself. So for Nehru, her design is really cool. She's got these like cool fin things on her head. She's got beautiful long hair. And so like she's got the pearl in her hands kind of right in front of her chest. And then she raises her hands up and a light shoots out from your pearl to the next island. And then the next statue explodes when the light hits it. And it's the next statue, and it's the next goddess Aurora, and she raises her pearl to the sky, and then the next light shoots out of hers to the next statue, and it explodes into the last goddess, Din, and she raises up her pearl, and they combine to make this triad. And in the middle of the triad is the empty square where nothing is. And rising out of the depths, a behemoth from the bottom of the ocean, is this just iconic tower, which is the Tower of the Gods. It's just this straight, just megalithic structure. You really get the sense this building is freaking huge, significantly bigger. Like on the actual map, if you compare the size of the Tower of the Gods to the other islands, it's one of the biggest ones. It's massive. Wow. So it rises up out of the depths. There's water cascading off of it. And like the music is almost very subtle and kind of heavy feeling. And so it rises up, and then Link, out of the sky, smacks right into the side of it. He's just like, boom!
Awesome.
He smacks right into the side of the tower. Like, arms of splay. Yeah, it's like a little bit of humor. It was feeling very, very heavy at the time. And you can actually do this day or night. So if you do it at night, it's even a little bit more scary. So it just like, Link is smacked into the side of the tower. He falls off, and the music is like, so he splashes down into the water below, and the King of Red Lions shows up, and he looks at Link like, come on, man, get it together.
Pick yourself up.
And so Link like gets back in the boat, and then you do the dungeon, which is the Tower of the Gods. So this is all building up to the actual moment I'm going to talk about. So the Tower of the Gods as an actual dungeon is fantastic. The puzzles are really good. You get to use a thing called the command melody, which allows you to possess certain types of statues. It's really fun. Has this overbearing feeling of lost technology. Like you look around and it's really kind of almost techie in a sense, but kind of like how we look back at ancient technologies from the Aztec or the Mayans or something. You're like, they had some ideas.
Right.
Something was going on here. Something was happening. And so you beat the final boss, a really fun battle. And right after you beat him, this beam of light descends from the ceiling, which is the very top of the tower. Everything kind of goes quiet. Like you get the heart tank, and then everything kind of chills back out. And you're transported to the top of the tower. It's dead silent. No music. And right above you, up this ladder. So the Tower of the Gods itself is totally white. It's like just white, gray, plain stone. You're in this walled courtyard at the very top of the tower. Right in the middle is a bell. A giant golden bell with just a single ladder, and you just climb up this ladder in total silence, and you can like see into the sky above because it's really steep. You feel like you're touching the heavens. It's the Tower of the Gods. And you go to the bell, and you use your grappling hook to sling onto it, and it's Link swinging back and forth as his own pendulum to ring this bell. And it's just like, bah, bah, and just like it pans out to like the vast seas, and you hear this ringing of the bell, and it's so somber, and it just like hits me right in the feels. It gets me every time. And way down below, you see this ring of light kind of appear in the water at the base of the Tower of the Gods. And without anything, and nobody says anything, nothing really happens, but Link is all of a sudden back down in the boat in the King of Red Lions. They very quietly sail into the middle of this golden ring and just sink down into the waves. And that's how you enter ancient, ruined Hyrule, sunken beneath the waves of time, frozen in time.
That's cool.
And it's the turning point of the game, and it's just like the whole thing, the bell, the tower, the drama, the smacking against the side of the tower. It's the one of my favorite sequences in any game. I love it to death. Number one, baby.
Very nice.
Number one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we should just end.
Done.
Credits.
The credits roll. Man, you guys had fucking good ones.
These were all good ones. Those were good too.
My number. I wish I should have done Reach. I regret it.
Reach was good. Reach would
the
be
fall
a
of
good
Reach.
one.
Damn it.
That is a good one.
Next time.
Yeah,
I've got
next
plenty of others. I'm an emotional person.
Yes.
That's an emotional part
Yeah,
of the game.
I'll have to think about that one. But yeah.
Very well done.
Nice
Very
to
well
talk about
said,
it.
both of y'all.
Nice
This
talk.
is a great topic.
Heavy.
Heavy.
Feeling a lot of emotions.
I know. I know when we were preparing this, and I went through and did the research and like rewatched these scenes that I talked about in mine, especially after the Last of Us one. I texted them both. And I was just like, oh my god, so many feels now.
At first he was like, I don't know if I've got enough
Yeah,
guys.
I
And
don't
then
know if it's
later he was like, psych. And it's just like, okay,
Sarcasm,
Jerrett.
I thought of them, and now I feel everything. But thank you for sticking with us through this topic. I know it was a little bit of a longer one. Again, and I know we got a couple more questions that we're just not going to have time to get to.
I got questions as we recorded.
Yes, so we
I
will
got
hit
texted
those
questions.
Oh wow,
That's I was
cool.
getting texted
Oh, man.
questions. They didn't even know I was recording.
Next
either.
time,
We will
question
hit
sode.
those up next
All right,
episode.
I'll save
Q&A
it. I'll
episode.
save it.
And we
Q&A
will get to those next time. But until next time, oh wait, not yet. Again, remember you can send us those questions.
Oh, he almost
It's
went
part
through
of the
it.
thing.
Yeah, they need to know.
They need to know how to get a hold of us, damn it. Email us at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at teamchatpodcast. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Peace out.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Later.
See y'all next time.